and said that I need to handle this man-to-man.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Jose Diaz Garcia is suing coworker 16-year-old Edgar Manjarres and his mother, Daniela Torres, for the cost to fix his side view mirror after Edgar sideswiped it.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 316 on the calendar in the matter of Diaz Garcia versus Torres Manjarres.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
How old are you, young man?
16.
You just get your driver's license?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. And how did you damage Mr. Garcia's car?
Well, I don't know if it was damaged already.
I don't care what you know. How did you damage Mr. Garcia's car?
I opened my door.
Explain that to me.
Well, I parked in a tight spot.
Why?
Because I was running late to work.
And the only parking spot was very, very small.
Yes.
What kind of car were you driving?
Silverado.
Is it?
My car.
Mother's car. How long have you been driving it?
Since I got my license.
Which was when?
August 23rd.
And when did you hit Mr. Garcia's car?
September 4th.
So, within a week of getting your license, you had your first accident.
Yes.
So you parked in a spot that was too small for your car because you were in a rush.
Yes.
And when you hit his car, you hit the mirror of his car.
Yes.
With your big Silverado truck. What kind of car was Mr. Garcia's?
Dodge Dakota.
What did you do when you hit it?
I waited for security because security's always walking around.
What do you mean you waited for security? You just stood at your car?
Yeah, waited in my car for security to come.
You waited in your car?
Well, outside, standing on it.
No. What's your first name?
Edgar.
Edgar. Let's start that again. You got out of your car because you were late.
Yes.
You parked in a spot that you shouldn't have parked in. You hit Mr. Garcia's mirror. You started to give me a whole story about you didn't know if it was damaged before or what it looked like before. And then you just stood there for security to come.
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Or are you telling me that security came by?
I waited for security to come.
How long did you wait?
5 minutes.
You waited 5?
It was a few minutes.
How many seconds did you wait for security? How many seconds did you wait?
20, 30.
20 seconds. Now, when you hit Mr. Garcia's car, did you call your boss to tell him you'd be late?
Yes.
So that would be a record of that in the phone. Before security came, did you call your boss and tell him you'd be late?
No.
No! Because you could have called your boss and told them that you were going to be late before security came, right?
Yes.
Because you knew there'd probably be paperwork. But you didn't. You just stood there and waited for security. Now, you were running late for work. What time were you Do you understand where we're going, madam?
Yes, I am. I understand.
I knew you would understand. There is nothing more satisfying than grilling a teenager when he's trying to make excuses. Now, where were you exactly when security came upon your car? Where were you standing?
Outside.
Outside where? Front or back of the car?
Side door.
No, because that was a very, very narrow space, narrow enough so that you hit his window. So you weren't standing in between unless they came up on you.
They came up on me.
That's right. Now, Edgar, anything else you want to tell me?
Supervisor of security was standing waiting for me because I'm not outside the casino.
What does that mean? You're not supposed to be by yourself, you're underage.
Because it's at a casino.
Yes? What do you do there, Edgar?
I work at the Flint Center as a party attendant.
What time were you due at work that day?
4.
And what time was it when you hit Mr. Garcia's car?
Right before 4.
How much before?
Like 2 minutes, but like 3:58.
Perfect. Can I see a picture of the mirror of your car? Thank you. Is what you're telling me the mirror fell off?
Yes, Your Honor.
What year is your car, Mr. Garcia?
98.
What year is your car?
2007.
Do you want to tell me why you think your son is not responsible and therefore you're responsible for replacing this mirror?
I'm insured, and Mr. Diaz wanted cash from the beginning and brought me a falsified receipt.
Just a second. If you have insurance,
Yes.
just a second. Do you have a deductible on your insurance?
Yes, I do.
How much?
500,
And how much did he want to fix the mirror?
306.
So then why would you go through your insurance?
Because my car's not damaged. I wasn't going to pay the deductible.
Just a second.
My car's not damaged at all.
Now, if you report that your 16-year-old son, who had a license for 4 days, had his first accident, how much do you think your insurance would go up? A lot.
Probably.
So why wouldn't you want to take care of this bill for $300 without going through your insurance?
Because at the moment that it happened, I was in ICU with my husband.
Just a second.
And I wasn't
So
in
is
town.
what you're telling me it was not a good time?
No. The accident happened, and I texted Mr. Diaz, which I have the report from my company. I was in ICU at the moment. I couldn't
Listen
take the
to
call.
me. Listen to me. This is not.
I have
This is not a
insurance.
drama. I asked you a question. If I had a 16-year-old son who had his first accident 5 days after he got his license, there was no question that the damage he caused was his fault because he parked in a very tight spot. He wasn't careful opening his door. He hit somebody else's car. You are absolutely liable. The damage was small, and it could have been handled for a small amount of money, whereas if you reported it to your insurance companies, your premium would have gone up over the next, I don't know, 5 years, 7 years, however much it was. I guarantee.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
His insurance company conducted an investigation and determined that the accident was your fault, and therefore his insurance company was not going to pay.
No.
And later today,
What other money do you think that he owes you for other than the $225?
I'm real strong about the travel arrangements, Your Honor, because
I don't care
of
if
the
you're strong about
resistance.
them. Keep going.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jose Diaz Garcia says coworker 16-year-old Edgar Manjarres sideswiped his side view mirror. Edgar and his mother, Daniela Torres, are countersuing for harassment and threats.
Now, I understand that you were in ICU with your husband. That has nothing to do with this accident.
No, but I am insured, and I offered to pay, but he brought me a Dodge printout with the amount, which is correct, because that's what my mechanic told me, but under it, he wrote more money. I'm not going to give him more than what it is.
Just a second. If you were going through your insurance company, you told me you were going to go through your
I was going to go through my, he offered, which is a minor. I wasn't around when it happened. He texted me and said, I got into an accident. And I go, okay, fine, Mr. Diaz. Not offered. They came into a mutual agreement.
He can't come to an agreement with a 16-year-old.
Well, because he's a minor. So when I came back, I said, no, we are insured. I've been paying insurance for 23 years.
Fine, so you wanted to go through your insurance.
Yes, but then he kept on texting me, and I said, I can't answer your phone calls right now. I'll call you when I get back. And he put a claim with his insurance company, which he did but it got declined because he didn't want to give them my info. He didn't want to go through my insurance.
He didn't want to go through your insurance?
No, I have farmers.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Why would he not want to go through your insurance?
It is declined.
I just want to see what letter she has, please. They conducted an investigation and determined that the accident was your fault, and therefore his insurance company was not going to pay.
No. No, yes, that's what happened. I'm not saying that's not what happened.
That's what this letter says.
Yes, and when I offered him my insurance, when that came along to my house, he said he wanted cash and brought me the receipt.
Fine. You have to pay him for his car. How much is it to replace the window?
The total right now is $549. Your Honor.
I want to see what you have to replace. The defendant is going to show me what she says she can have it fixed for. The same thing.
Yeah.
Let me
this is
see.
the original receipt, Your Honor.
Let me see what you have. You have something different?
And
Yes, well, I
I'd like
have
to
the
see
one
it.
he gave me, which
Then
I
I'd
called
like
Dodge,
to see it.
and they said they didn't write that, but
I went
I'd
to the
like
original
to-
Dodge twice.
Hers. His.
Right, 306.73. Okay, so you have to pay for the mirror. No question. You understand that? Your accident, You pay for it. And mother lets you drive a big car and you act irresponsibly when you're 16 years old, your mother has to pay for it. And I don't care if you get the money back from your insurance company or not. It's your insurance company. He's not going to go through his insurance, so his insurance goes up. You take care of it yourself. Now I'm going to hear your counterclaim very, very fast.
Okay, my counterclaim is that my son's 16. Mr. Diaz harassed him at work.
How did he harass you at work?
Well, I was walking to go to work, and
When?
it was a few weeks after.
A few weeks?
Or like the week after, like the next week, next Saturday.
You have a difficulty with time. A week? 2 weeks? What is it?
Like a week after, the next Saturday.
Go ahead.
And then I was walking. I need to handle this man-to-man and not to be up, and which means.
Go ahead.
And I told him I can't talk to you. Handle this with my mom. She told me she will handle this, and he still kept going. And I told him I can't do this, and I just walked away to go to work.
And?
And that was it. I just went to work.
And what else?
He would still come to Fun Center and ask for money and start.
When? Well, so far we're talking about a week later when your mother said, I can't handle this now. So now nobody's handling it, and it's a week later. When else did he harass you?
It was probably the next day, Sunday.
No. Let me explain something to you. If he doesn't remember the date, it couldn't have made much of an impression on him, madam. Do you understand?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
And later today,
If your daughter had taken the car, and if she had made the vast majority of her car payments but was late a couple of times, you would not have repossessed the car, right?
No, I would have.
No.
I would
don't
have
think
taken
you-
the car back
I don't
from
think
her.
you would have.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Jose Diaz Garcia says coworker 16-year-old Edgar Manjarres sideswiped his side view mirror. Edgar and his mother, Daniela Torres.
Now, you have to pay Mr. Garcia for his mirror. Mr. Garcia could have been more understanding if you were having difficulties at home with a husband who was ill. However, he's not a member of your family, so if he chooses not to be more understanding, I can't legally fault him. It's your son's responsibility. He did the wrong thing. I have a feeling he wasn't standing around waiting for security. I have a feeling that security came upon him. That's what I think. I think this baloney of him standing around waiting for somebody to come is just that, a lot of baloney, because he didn't call his boss right away and say, I'm going to be late. I'm waiting here for security. He didn't call his boss until security came upon him and got him. That's what he just told me. So I can understand Mr. Garcia's frustration. Should he have approached a 16-year-old? Probably not. But since your son couldn't even remember whether it was a week later or 2 weeks later, it clearly didn't make that much of an impression on him. You owe Mr. Garcia $306.73. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may
Thank you,
step
John.
out.
He deserved to get paid for his damage, but he didn't have to call my son up and cornered him.
This is the first time I heard that I said that to him, but I never said anything to him.
I saw the mirror on the floor. I don't know if it was damaged already.
My son and he still is.
I believe that parents, they need to talk to their kids and vice versa and take responsibility together.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tam versus Beard. Step forward.
Robin Tam is suing her ex-son-in-law, 21-year-old Timothy Beard, for a car loan, travel costs, and automobile expenses.
Miss Tam, Mr. Beard was married to your daughter. While they were married, you co-signed for a car for the two of them. When they separated and or divorced, Mr. Beard kept the car and moved out of state. That was by agreement. And he was making payments on the car. Then he stopped making payments on the car. Things got a little tight. You went and picked up the car. But there was an agreement between the two of you that you were going to go and pick up the car. Otherwise, I assume you would have had a marshal to come and pick it up. But you went and picked up the car, you brought it home, and you believe he owes you a whole lot of money for a whole bunch of things. Your air tickets to go and pick up the car, the payments that you had to make on the car, and you'll tell me what else. I think Mr. Beard probably owes you some money, so let's start out with that, Mr. Beard, so you'll make my life somewhat easy. In your car payment,
I had made a payment in October that was $35 short. Now the next month I had made a late payment, which was late, and it was a late charge. I made a $75 payment.
What was the car payment you were supposed to make?
It's $195.
Well, $75 payment is no payment,
Correct,
Mr. Beard.
correct.
Banks don't want to know that you're making a $75 payment or a $15 payment or a $10 payment. So far, what I have is you are 1 full month's behind in your car payment.
Yeah, basically, pretty much, yeah.
And the car payment was $195?
It was $195.19 to be exact.
In what month did Miss Tam come to pick up the car?
Her husband and her daughter actually came and picked the car up.
When?
It had to have been December 3rd, December 5th, maybe.
In December?
Right at the very beginning of December.
And where did they pick the car up from?
From my uncle's house, who I was living with at the time.
At the time, Miss Tam, that your husband and your daughter went to pick up the car, how many car payments were behind?
According to the bank statement and the call that we received from the bank.
Don't tell me about a call. All I want to know is the bank statement.
$420.95, and that was to catch it up through December.
No, not through December. You picked the car up in December. I'm deducting from the $420, $195. You had the car. So $225. Now, why do you think he owes you any more than $225?
Well, when it came to the travel expenses, he did not agree to have us come get the car.
I don't care. He don't get travel expenses. What else?
Judge Judy continues in a...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Okay. Where's the car now?
We're trying to sell the car right now.
Who drove the car last week?
Cheyenne drove it in Mountain Home.
And 2 weeks ago, who drove the car?
Cheyenne did.
So she's driving the car. I don't care what you're
She
trying
was
to
trying
do.
to help us sell the car.
Your contract was with both your daughter and your former son-in-law. Now you have the car back. What other money do you think that he owes you for other than the $225 that he used when he drove the car and he didn't pay for?
I'm real strong about the travel arrangements, Your Honor, because
I don't care
of the
if you're strong about
resistance.
them. Keep going.
Because of the resistance that we got from giving us the car.
Listen to me. Now, I understand it that you don't want your credit to be placed in jeopardy because of somebody who is now a stranger to you. And if she had made the vast majority of her car payments but was late a couple of times, you would not have repossessed the car, right?
No, I would have.
No.
I would have taken the car back.
I don't think you would have. What kind of work does your daughter do now?
She's like in a accredited school program.
Does that mean she works or doesn't work?
She doesn't work.
She doesn't work. So who makes the car payment?
Right now, I do.
Right. Now, if you repossess the car, you can sell the car, but you choose to let your daughter, who is not paying for the car, that's in violation of your contract, drive the car, right?
She drove it for 2 weeks.
I don't, listen to me, don't tell me 2 weeks. So, your contract was with the two of them. And when I said to you, if your daughter was a couple of $100 behind in a car payment, you wouldn't have repossessed it. You said, yes, I would have. But she's driving the car now, not paying a penny.
Understand. But
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $225. That's all.
Judge Judy.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I just wish that we could have gotten reimbursed on the travel expenses because it wasn't agreed upon. Matter of fact, we had a lot of resistance to getting the car back.
She made a good decision. It was really a waste of my time. They're just a bunch of bitter people, and I'm just happy to move on with my life and hope they do the same.
I think there's a lot of hurt that was part of it.
Don't marry somebody you don't know, man. Make sure you know them before you marry them, for real. Wait till you're old, man. Enjoy your youth.
Living together, and she took care of the finances.
Yes, I trusted her with that, and I never should have.
Exes in a cash grab.
Did Miss Thomas give you money?
No, she did not.
Did a symbol of his love
I bought her an engagement ring that she picked out. It was a ring upwards to $5 grand.
get hijacked?
Where is the ring?
She will not give it back to me.
Why not?
He said he didn't want it back.
That's not ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
22-year-old Candace Thomas is suing the father of her son, Christopher Guerin, for the money to pay off credit card debt.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 450 on the calendar in the matter of Thomas versus Guerin.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Thomas, the defendant is your former boyfriend, and you have a child together. You claim that you're back.
I do.
I have some questions to ask you because he says that he doesn't owe you any money. He pays his child support as he's directed to, which is $1,800 a month. Is that what he pays?
No, Your Honor.
What do you pay?
I've got stuff from support enforcement showing that that's what I pay.
I'd like to see it.
And that's for the month of January. The second page there shows the whole breakdown by each week.
Do you work?
I work full-time, Your Honor, as a dental assistant.
Well, he's paid for January. Is this the only time you paid?
No, I've been paying since October-ish. Probably, I was ordered to start my pay on October 20th. I think early November is when it came in effect, and they back-charged me for all of October. That's why there's a...
Oh, he pays his child support.
I have proof that he's in arrears over $1,400 as of...
Listen to me. How old is your child?
8 months old.
How much does he pay in child support a month?
He's supposed to pay $950 a month. And
a month?
A month.
Well, I have January. January is a little over $1,800, so you may not have gotten it yet.
Well, he has another
Listen to
son.
me. You may not have gotten it yet. That's a pretty decent amount of child support, so I don't have any issue with him with child support. Would you? Thank you.
Your Honor, I have proof that he's $1,400
Listen
behind.
to me. I just said he pays through the support collections unit, or whatever you call it. He pays a decent amount in child support. I'm not getting into it.
Okay.
Good. Now, I want to know with whom you were living in January of 2010.
I was living with him, Your Honor.
December of 2009.
With me.
November of 2009.
We were living together.
From what period of time to what period of time were you living together?
I moved in with the defendant, Your Honor, in late August, early September of 2009, and lived with him until the end of July in 2010 when our son was 2 months old.
It was April of 2009 when she moved back in.
April. Does that sound right?
No, Your Honor.
Let's say August of 2009. Ms. Thomas, when you moved back in with the defendant, did you at any time have a joint bank account?
No.
From what bank account were the expenses paid for the living expenses? Rent, utilities, cable,
That all
gas.
came out of my bank account.
Just a second. Gas, electric, dining out, credit cards. From whose account did that come?
Your Honor, he paid the rent for those months. I paid all of our food and anything that has to do with the living expenses such as gas, and I paid some utilities and stuff like that.
You paid, you didn't let me finish, out of your account.
Yes.
Out of your account. And he paid for the rent and utilities out of his account.
The utilities were split. Sometimes I paid them, and they weren't paid out of accounts. They were paid with money orders, and some were paid out of the accounts.
Who got the money orders?
I did.
Who wrote the checks out of the accounts?
He would write a check if he paid it that way. If I paid it, I would do a money order.
And if you did a money order, you did a money order from what money?
From my money. From
Why wouldn't you pay
cash.
it out of your checking account?
Because none of the bills were in my name, so I didn't write checks, you know, to those bills that weren't in my name.
Why not?
With my personal checks.
Why not? You can write a check out to the phone company. They'll take it in anybody's name.
Oh, I know. I didn't. I usually would just
That's
make
where
them
I'm
with
going. I'm finding out who you are.
Okay. I'm like,
I'm finding out who you are. I'm finding out this very busy girl bothered to get a money order because somebody who's intelligent thinks that they can't pay a utility bill if the utility is not in their name. So they went and got a money order that's in nobody's name. I'm just finding out who we are, madam. Do you understand? Good. Now, it is your claim that he got into some serious debt, $10,000 worth of validating $7,000 worth of debt by putting some on a credit card, some from your savings, and some from a line of credit. And he was supposed to start paying you back $200 a month, beginning when you were living together, January of 2010.
There was never an agreement.
Just a second. Tell me first, on what date did you consolidate these loans and he started to pay them, or you pay them, maybe with a money order? On what date?
In the month of May,
just a minute, May of
2009.
May of 2009, go ahead.
And also June of 2009, I made several payments to his debts.
Didn't she just say we weren't together?
She absolutely said you were not together in May of 2009. Not together, according to her, until August of 2009.
We were friends, Your Honor. We've had a past prior to this as well. So.
No, you don't do that with a friend. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
He had another girlfriend, Your Honor, who he moved from a different state. Why would I loan somebody who has another girlfriend money?
That's my question to you. That's exactly my question to you.
Because he got himself into some debt. He came to me and asked me as a friend who has a very good credit history and asked me as a friend, hey, I'm in debt. Can you help me get out of debt?
Had you lived together prior to that?
We did. We were
Just a second. Had you been engaged prior to that?
Yes, a year before that.
It doesn't happen. What you're suggesting didn't happen. He's got a new girlfriend, you were engaged, you broke up. I don't know who broke up with whom, but you used to live together, you didn't anymore, it came to you, so you took out money from your savings bank and gave it to him? Don't buy it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You told me that you wrote out all kinds of money to all kinds of his creditors after you had lost your job and he had a new girlfriend. That doesn't make sense.
And later today,
You got a 3.0, good for you. Don't try to talk over me.
I was unable
it's
to
finished.
attend college
it's over.
because she had taken my tax documents.
That's a ridiculous reason. That means that you're an idiot. You don't belong in college.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Candace Thomas says the father of her son, Christopher Guerin, owes for a loan to pay his credit card debt. Christopher claims the money was never a loan.
Go ahead.
I have receipts to everything that I've loaned him. Everything's in his name. They're collection agencies. They are bills from Money Tree. There's several stuff. Why would I just pay him $7,000 worth of debt when I did it because he asked me for help to get himself back on track because he was $10,000 worth of debt.
Listen, Ms. Thomas, I'm trying to make rational sense out of this. If something doesn't make sense, it's usually not true. Who is this?
This is my father.
What you just said to me was you moved back in together in August of 2009. 3 minutes ago, you told me that you wrote out all kinds of money to all kinds of his creditors in May and June of 2009, according to you, after you had lost your job, so you had no job, and he had a new girlfriend. That doesn't make sense. So I'll let you finish telling me your story. Go.
Okay, so in May and June of 2009, the defendant and I were friends, even though he had prior relations. Okay, him and I were on good terms. We started seeing each other more frequently after this, and that's when we ended up back together in July of 2009. We made the agreement when I did consolidate his debts that he would be paying me back when he got back on track and back on his feet because he was unemployed as well throughout that time. I financially could afford to help him in this situation, even though I was unemployed, because I have always had a savings account. I've always been good with my money, and I had nothing to worry about because I had unemployment income.
I'd like to look and see what proof you have. Did Ms. Thomas give you money?
No, she did not. She never gave me money.
Did she loan you money?
No, she did not. Yes, she did pay my debts. I was the breadwinner in the family. I was working, and I worked hard when we were together. I brought my checks home. They went into the bank. Candace had access to the bank cards, to the checkbooks, and she wrote the bills. And from her transferring from one credit card to another credit card, I had no idea about that. She took care of that.
Did she ever take money out of a savings account and give it to you?
No, she never did. She never gave me money.
Did she ever take money out of a savings account, as far as you know, to pay any of your bills?
No, not that I know of.
So it's your statement that during this time you were, in fact, together.
Yes.
And that you were working, paying the rent, and she paid for the food, because that sounds like a reasonable arrangement.
Yeah.
And you were living together, and she took care of the finances.
Yes, I trusted her with that, and I never should have.
Okay. Now you can show me.
Would you like me to hand you everything and tell you?
No. What I want you to do now is the first time you paid off money for him, you're going to give me a piece of paper and show me what that was.
The first piece of paper is the receipt for his rent payment, the month of May.
Just a second. I'm not taking a piece of his rent payment.
This was when I didn't live with him and had nothing to do with. I was just friends with him. He was over a month behind.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
Okay. His Jared bill, or his Weisfield bill, for somebody else, his girlfriend at the time.
It's a ring that she's wearing.
It was overdue.
Shh, just a second. Just a second. Show me the bill and show me from where the money came.
The bill
is there.
It's right here. There's two. There's May and June, and then there, right here, I have the check number and the clear date of both months right here. I've highlighted them.
Okay. This is Jared Drew's $154.50, June 15th.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, is what you're telling me that jewelry is not jewelry that you're wearing?
No.
What was that for?
That jewelry is probably for the engagement ring that I bought her a while back. Our earlier relationship before we split up, I bought her an engagement ring with the Jared account that she picked out. It was a ring upwards to $5 grand.
Where is that ring?
She will not give it back to me.
Why not?
He said he didn't want it back.
I asked her for the ring back, and she told me no.
I have a text message proving that he does not want the ring back, saying, I do not want your ring back.
So I am correct that you have the engagement ring, correct?
Yes,
and
correct.
The engagement ring was about $5,000.
It was, but by him over time, a long time ago. That was before.
Let's go.
Okay, a car note for his Dodge SRT. That was his first car payment of $314. You have the bank statement.
Let's go. What date?
That was in, this one's May.
May, while he was with somebody else, not
18th.
living with you. Just a second. You were not living there, not living with you. He had another girlfriend. Next.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I want to know what your defense is. Is your defense that she said she would pay for it?
She said that she made more money than me and that she would pay for the classes.
She doesn't want to pay for it anymore.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Candace Thomas says the father of her son, Christopher Guerin, owes for a loan to pay his credit card debt. Christopher claims the money was never a loan.
Okay, let's go.
He was 2 months behind on his car payment, his other car payment, and that was a truck payment. I paid $534 of that.
Great. Keep going.
A Comcast bill that him and his roommates and all of those
people... Tell you what you do. Where do you come from?
Seattle.
Where's the ring?
The ring is at home in my dresser.
When he gets back the ring, I'll see you again. Then, do we understand each other? When he gets back his ring, you listen to me carefully. When he gets back his ring, I'll see you back here with your paperwork. Do you understand what I said?
That's fine.
Great. Thank you. That's all.
Excuse me, step out.
Ever since we separated after our son was born and she left me, it's just been downhill.
He's mad because he has to pay child support now.
She keeps coming after me for more support money. She needs more of this, she needs more of that.
He told me that he wasn't going to help me with child support or anything to do with our son.
Right after she started receiving support, she went out and bought herself a new BMW and then took a trip to Las Vegas.
He claims that I don't allow him to see our son.
I hope she'll finally learn that she's not going to get everything that she wants out of me anymore.
I hope that we can start to have better communication.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pombier versus Darnell. Step forward.
23-year-old Whitney Pombier is suing her ex-boyfriend, Brian Darnell, for a loan to pay his tuition and for the return of an heirloom bed.
Miss Pombier, your lawsuit contains perhaps one valid cause of action. The rest of them are just designed to annoy me, as well as your counterclaim, sir. You have one valid claim in your counterclaim that I'm going to entertain, and that has to do with the return of your whatever. What I will entertain, Miss Pombier, is your claim for a loan for his school tuition. Tell me about it.
Me and Brian started dating in April of 2010.
Brian and I started dating also.
Sorry, Your Honor. He was working at Arby's. I was working as a leasing agent at Oak Meadows in Albion, Michigan. Towards the end of the summer, Brian decided that he wanted to go to college. He did not have a bank account, so we had an agreement that I would allow him to have the monthly installments for his class taken out of my checking account with the intentions that he was going to pay me back the money. He made one payment to me for $120, and that was in September. Since then, the money has been withdrawn from my account, and he has not paid me anything else. I do have a text message stating that he recognizes that he owes me money.
How many payments did you make for his classes?
I made 4 of them, and he made a payment of $120. I actually am suing for 2 of them, but I noticed that when I got the paperwork back from the Kellogg Community College that he was attending, they actually took out another one. And within 3 days of that payment being taken out of my account, I actually had to close my account.
Yeah, so you closed your account. So you have a lawsuit for 2 of those payments.
Correct.
And how much were those 2 payments?
$285.
Okay. Go.
Okay, first of all, there was only 3 payments made.
She's suing for $285. Go.
Okay, there was 3 payments made. They were all through her, and we were together when she signed it. She had told me that she had made more money than I did working as a leasing agent, and I worked at Arby's. So she put it in her name.
Shut up.
So she says, don't worry about it. I make more money than you. I will take care of this. Second, my work requires that you have a bank account, as they pay only in direct deposit. There's no pay stubs. So I have my own bank account. Second, when we were together, classes that I attended for in college, I could only pick the classes that Whitney would attend with me, which meant that I only had 2 classes to choose from. And at the last moment, Whitney had put her bank information incorrect on the website, which she only has a password for. I don't have it.
I don't understand the last part of what you said, sir.
There is a, in order to pay for
I want to know what your defense is. Is your defense that she said she would pay for it?
She said that she made more money than me and that she would pay for the classes.
She doesn't want to pay for it anymore.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, did you go to school?
I did attend school, and I got a 3.17 grade average.
So good for you. Now
without books.
Great. Now you pay for it. $285. Now, you have a counterclaim. You say she has some of your paperwork. What does she have that's yours?
When she moved out and had my tax documents in there for 2009, 2010, so that I could attend the school and pay for it with financial aid, which would have covered...
Do you have his tax documents?
No, Your Honor.
Who prepared your taxes?
H&R Block did.
They have a copy.
I was unable to receive the copy. I called them and they said that they only...
Go over there. They have a copy. Tell them you lost it, you need it. They'll give you a copy. You may have to pay $5, but they have a copy. They have a computer. They're done on computer. You work at Arby's. I mean, they're not exactly filling out tax forms for Ford. Do you understand? What else?
When we got together, I had my kids every other weekend, and while we were together, we purchased a hideaway bed.
I don't want to hear your hideaway bed. You owe her $285, Mr. Darnell.
She said that she would pay for that because she made more money than I did.
$285, Mr. Darnell. You got a 3.0. Good for you. Don't try to talk over me. You got a 3.0. Good for you.
I was unable to attend college
it's over.
because she had taken my tax documents.
Well, that's a ridiculous reason. That means that you're an idiot. You don't belong in college. If you didn't think of going to H&R... Hey, if you didn't think of going to H&R Block to get a copy of tax returns or go online to get a copy of your tax returns, then you don't belong in college. Stay in Arby's. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Party's no excuse. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I actually think I was owed more money than that, but, you know, I'm just happy that this is done and over with.
I really felt that I was owed more money, especially since I was unable to attend college.
My dad had a friend who was gonna, you know, hook him up with a job, but he didn't want to take the job because he said that he didn't want to pay more child support.
She would come to my work and sit in the lobby to make sure that I wasn't talking to people.
I'm very kind and compassionate.
She wouldn't let me have people's phone numbers in there if they were female, whether it be my cousins or my sisters even.
Within literally 2 weeks of me allowing the payments to be taken out of my account, we broke up, and this is the end result.
It was just too possessive, and I couldn't handle it.
Never trust another man again.
What was she doing with your 2 children?
I was going through a personal issue with alcohol.
Preoccupied parents hand off their kids.
I was in no condition to take care of my children.
Where were you?
I was in jail.
And a neighbor pays for her good deed.
I gave her money several times, ma'am.
And how much did you spend on food?
$300-400.
Is that right?
He did purchase 3 dinners and donuts one morning.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are... is Judge Judy.
Julie Halverson, boyfriend Darren Prescott, and co-worker Matthew Howard are suing Stephanie O'Brien for the return of a laptop Julie lent her.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 470 on the calendar, the matter of Halverson, Prescott, Howard versus O'Brien.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
What's your last name?
Halverson.
Ms. Halverson, I'm going to deal with you primarily. Which one of you people allegedly owned this computer?
Me, ma'am.
That would be you. Sit down. All right. Ms. Halverson, this is what this case is about. This is boyfriend,
Yes, ma'am.
and you have a couple of children who live with you. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
How many children do you have altogether?
3.
And how many children live with you?
2.
How old is the child that doesn't live with you?
21.
How old are the 2 children that now do reside with you?
12 and 9.
The defendant was a neighbor of yours. You got into some difficulty with Mr. Prescott. That's you.
That's me.
And the difficulty involved some sort of an assault, a hoopla between the 2 of you. So far, correct?
So far.
Good. Somehow, Miss O'Brien, who was a neighbor of yours, because otherwise the state was going to take them away. So far, correct?
No.
No.
Well, then tell me, what was she doing with your 2 children?
She had volunteered to help me with my children while I was going through a personal issue with alcohol.
Otherwise, what was going to happen to your children?
They would have been with me.
Unlikely.
Why?
Well, there was a problem with the police coming to your house. Is that right?
That's correct.
How many days were the children with Miss O'Brien without you, Mr. Prescott?
1.
And where were you?
I was in jail.
Right. That's the problem. You see, if she had a problem with alcohol and you were in jail, where were your children going to be?
They could have been with my parents.
But they weren't. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Well, I wasn't
Coulda-
there to make that decision, Your
I
Honor.
understand that. That's why the state would have made that decision for you.
State was already involved with our family.
That's right. Oh, interesting. State was involved with your family in what way, Mr. Prescott?
We had a child protection worker with our family.
Right.
Before the alleged incident.
Oh, I understand. Mr. Prescott, I sat in family court for 25 years. I know exactly what I'm talking about. So
Okay.
police come to your house. She's in no condition to take custody of minor children. They take you off to jail.
Yep.
What they do is they look for somebody responsible, somebody who steps forward and says, listen, while we're unwrapped, stay with me, which is what Miss O'Brien did.
Mm-hmm. She offered that, yes.
You know I'm not crazy about you. You understand that.
That's okay.
She may tolerate whatever you do and may drink in order to tolerate it. I don't. So why don't you just pay careful attention? Because this case really doesn't involve you. It involved Miss Halverson, who wants this computer back. Now, you bought the computer, Miss Halverson, allegedly from him. Is that right?
I was in the process of purchasing it, yes.
Okay. After Miss O'Brien had the children in her house, Mr. Prescott got out of jail. And then Mr. Prescott stayed with Miss O'Brien with the children. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
2 weeks.
And can you give me some idea, Miss Halverson, why Mr. Prescott didn't stay in his own house with the 2 children? These are your 2 children, right?
That's correct.
Why he didn't stay in his house with the 2 children rather than stay with Miss O'Brien?
There was a no-contact order.
And where were you?
I was in the home.
So you were in the house and you couldn't have the children with you. There was a no-contact order that you had against him or that he had against you?
Yes, Your Honor, but...
Yes, what? He had against you or you had against him?
I had against him in a state of drinking and to stay with me. I was in no condition to, at that point, take care of my children.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Prescott?
I'm a machinist.
Do you work full-time?
I do.
When you stayed with Miss O'Brien for the 2 weeks that you stayed with her, according to Miss Halverson, Miss O'Brien said it was longer, but let's say it was 2 weeks.
It was longer.
How long was it?
From approximately October 13th to the 22nd of November.
Did you give Miss O'Brien any money to help with the support of you and your children?
I did not. I purchased things.
Like what?
Food.
For whom?
The entire family. My children as well as hers.
And how much did you spend on food?
I don't know. It depends, I guess. If you add it all up, $300-400.
Is that right?
No, Your Honor.
How much money, if any, did Mr. Prescott give you when he lived with you?
There was no money in that form.
Did he buy groceries? Did he take you out for dinner?
He did purchase steaks one night for the 3 adults and then hot dogs or something for the children. There were donuts one morning. He made chili on a Sunday. There were 3 meals and 1 donut purchased in the morning.
And he was there for over a month?
He was there approximately 7 weeks. His period is pretty accurate.
Do you have any proof, Mr. Prescott, of any additional?
No, but I did make more food than she's claiming.
Okay. Now, Ms. O'Brien, would you tell me under what circumstances you got possession of that computer?
There was a phone call shortly after the girls came to the home, and Darren was at that point at the home as well, at our home.
Okay, now Darren came to the house, that's Mr. Prescott, after he was released from jail.
Correct. It was not a day. It was 3, I believe.
On what day did this incident take place that caused you to be incarcerated, Mr. Prescott?
The 10th of October.
What jail were you taken to?
The Anoka County Jail.
And on what date were you released?
The 12th of October.
That's 2 days.
Yes.
So that the children weren't with the defendant 1 day, they were with her 2 days.
Yes.
So you made a mistake.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She drinks for a reason. You're the reason.
She drinks because she has a drinking problem.
You're the reason.
I'm not the reason.
Oh, sir. Listen, I want to tell you something. If I lived with you...
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie Halverson, boyfriend Darren Prescott, and coworker Matthew Howard claims Stephanie O'Brien won't return a computer Julie Lespence's and for vandalism to her car.
Now, how did it come about, Mr. Prescott, that you went to Miss O'Brien's house?
She asked me to come there.
What do you mean she asked you to come?
I was released. I was residing with my family.
Residing with what family?
My folks.
How far is that from one place to another?
Approximately 7 miles from her home to my family's home.
Why didn't your children come to live with you and your parents?
Convenience.
Who's convenient?
Their friends, their schools were closer.
Well, 7 miles. We're not talking about a 10-hour ride.
The buses, things of that nature.
So it was more convenient for you.
I just said that.
I don't like you, Mr. Prescott. You're causing me not to like you even more. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to rule in the defendant's favor, but you're not helping yourself. You're presenting yourself as a nasty, abusive man. That's how you're presenting yourself.
Well, that's...
I mean, she's presenting herself
opinion.
as, unfortunately, what she is, which is she's someone with an addiction problem.
This was an unfortunate incident that happened in our lives.
Mr. Prescott, if it was an unfortunate incident that happened in your life that you wanted to keep an unfortunate incident, you would have kept it to yourself.
Meaning?
Meaning you wouldn't be here. Meaning exactly that, Mr. Prescott. You wouldn't be here. And you would say this is an unfortunate incident who could have taken your children, according to you, at the very beginning.
Yeah.
She said, what?
I had talked to my worker, and the girls were going to go and stay with Darren's parents and his grandmother of 92 years old. And with everything we were going through and his father being very, very ill, she had come to me and volunteered to help me.
Very good. And if she volunteered to help you, now she's telling me...
money.
Who gave her money?
I gave her money several times, ma'am. I gave her $20 a week plus $40 2 different times for food.
You gave her $20 a week?
And my children both came and helped her take tons and tons of food-saved food from my freezer downstairs.
Listen to me, Miss Halverson. How did she get custody of the computer?
She's seen it in my home. I wasn't using it then because we couldn't afford the internet.
How long had you had it and you weren't using it?
About 2 weeks. And she said she would love to have one of those for school. And I said, for you helping me with my children, I will let you borrow it, but it's not mine, so it needs to be returned when the girls come back.
We were in the process of purchasing it.
I'm not speaking to you.
Well, I'm helping.
I'm not speaking to you.
I hadn't paid for it yet. The agreement was when the girls were returned, so was the...
Tell me, Miss O'Brien, how you got custody of that computer?
Phone conversation one evening with Julie, and she...
Where were the children at the time?
At my home.
How long had the children been at your home when you had this conversation?
Maybe a week and a half, Your Honor.
So Mr. Prescott was there as well?
Correct.
And she called you from her house?
Correct.
You know she has a drinking problem?
Yes.
Was she drinking when she called you?
I don't believe so. I had a very hard time telling when she was lying to me about her drinking.
Okay, go ahead.
During the course of the conversation, the laptop was brought up. She informed me that she knew somebody who rebuilt them or something along those lines. And I said, that would be fantastic. I'm going back to school. I would love one. I said, can you talk to this Matt and ask him how much it would cost me? And she said, oh, no, you can have mine. And I said, no, that's fine. I'd actually preferred a new one. She said, no, she would get it ready for me in the morning. I was pretty sure it wouldn't happen because Julie sometimes said things and then either didn't remember she said them or just didn't follow through. The next morning after I dropped the children off at school, I always came back to check on Julie to make sure she was fine and not drinking before I headed off to school. She had the laptop at the door and told me that there's the laptop, you're welcome to have it.
Now, when you're there,
yes.
He was there during the time the computer was in your home for at least, according to you, another 4 weeks, according to him, at least another week and a half.
Correct.
Now, stand. How old are you?
I am 22.
Who do you live with?
My parents.
What kind of a computer do you have?
The laptop in question is a Toshiba laptop.
I didn't ask you about the laptop in question. I said, what kind of a computer do you have?
I have a laptop and a desktop at home.
What kind of a laptop do you have?
Another Toshiba.
When did you get the Toshiba that you have at home? Look, don't look down.
All right,
look here. When did you get the Toshiba?
About, I would say, 4 or 5 months ago. My mother purchased it for family usage.
Did she purchase it new?
Yes.
So you have a new laptop that you got about 5 months ago, is that right?
Yes, my family does, yes.
You have a new laptop.
It's not technically mine, Your Honor. It's...
Where is it kept?
In...
No.
Yes.
Where is the laptop kept?
In my mother's room, usually.
And when it's not in your mother's room, where is it?
The family room.
Is there any other computer in the house?
My little brother has his own laptop as well.
And how old is he?
15, 16.
And what kind of laptop does your little brother have, who's 15 or 16?
He has a Toshiba laptop, ma'am.
And when did he get his?
He got it 2 months ago from my older brother.
Because you had one.
Yes, ma'am.
On what date did Miss Halverson take possession of your computer?
I don't know an exact date. It'd be like the middle of September toward the end of September
of 2010. Now, you already had your new computer at that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Now you can sit down.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you egg her car?
No, I did not.
Who did?
I have no idea.
You don't know.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Julie Halverson, boyfriend Darren Prescott, and co-worker Matthew Howard claim Stephanie O'Brien won't return a laptop. Stephanie claims the computer was a gift for doing Julie and Darren a favor.
Miss O'Brien, I
Yes,
want you to listen to me very carefully. The computer is going back to Miss Halverson because I think she did not have the capacity to make a gift to you. And when I say she didn't have the capacity, I think that she has a severe alcohol problem. And you understand it, which is why the children were really at your house. So I don't think it's appropriate for you to accept a gift from her. How what she's doing. So, Bert, we're going to take that computer and put it over there on that side of the table, if you would. Thank you. Now we're going to get to Miss O'Brien's counterclaim. Miss O'Brien is seeking the living expenses that she expended for both not even Mr. Prescott, because I can't place a price tag on what his expenses were at your house, but I can for the necessaries for his children. Now, do you want to tell me, please, Miss O'Brien, what it is that you spent on the children during the time that they were with you?
We gave a hat and gloves to the youngest daughter who did not have any. It was cold.
When you say you gave them, did you purchase them?
Yes. They had been purchased previously, not for this, but yes, we had purchased them previously.
What else?
We borrowed a jacket to the oldest daughter that never came home.
It was returned the next day.
Just a second. You lent, yes.
Yes.
You lent it. Don't speak out. I'm not talking to you.
In addition, there was damage to the carpet downstairs from the youngest daughter playing with paint. I have pictures.
I'm not interested in that. You invited them into the house. That's what happens with young children.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We provided food. They showered daily, did not bring their own.
Would you ask him to uncross his hands, please? Did you have an arrangement with either Miss Halverson or Mr. Prescott to reimburse you for any of the expenses for the children?
Yes, we did.
Tell me about the arrangement.
The conversation
was with whom?
Was with Darren, and it was after the egging of our truck.
Which has nothing to do with this. Well, you're going to let her bring that up, and it has no bearing on...
It's in her answer, sir, and it's in her counterclaim. Do you want to look at it?
Yeah, I've never been served with a copy of it.
Because actually, you weren't the one who she's claiming egged the truck.
I know who she's claiming egged the truck, and she was at work at the time.
Absolutely right.
And that can be proved. Go ahead, Your Honor.
She drinks for a reason. You're the reason.
She drinks because she has a drinking problem.
You're the reason.
I'm not the reason.
Oh, sir, listen, I want to tell you something. If I lived with you, I don't know.
That's pretty funny.
It's not to me. I want to say something. It's not to me.
No, I'm not knocking
You want to tell me, please, Miss O'Brien, put him out.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Mr. Prescott, ladies get the last word.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. 1-888-800-JUDY.
Okay. You see how fair I am? Did you get your computer back? Did you get the computer back?
Yes, thank you.
Did you egg her car?
No, I did not.
Who did?
I have no idea.
You don't know.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
No.
Miss O'Brien, are you still her neighbor?
Yes.
Do you have any contact with her?
No.
Do you have any contact with Mr. Prescott?
No.
Was he the same kind of belligerent oaf when he lived with you?
No, he was not. I'm very surprised at the way he's behaved since he's gone home.
Since he's gone home?
I believe they feed off of each other.
Well, somebody's making them behave that way. Unfortunately, there are 2 children that live with them. Those 2 children still live with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Very unfortunate. Miss O'Brien, sometimes no good deed goes unpunished. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your lawsuit is for necessaries. I don't believe that there was an agreement when you did a very charitable thing and took in the 2 children while they were going through a bad period. I think that you were fond of Miss Halverson. According to your own statement, you actually went into her house to check on her after you took the children to school because you were concerned about her. I don't know whether that's true or not. But they were staying with their father at your house.
Correct. We felt that it was best.
I know what you folks don't, at this point, indulge in. If he bought 3 steaks or 4 steaks or made chili for the whole family once or twice or bought hot dogs on 2 or 3 occasions, we don't do that. We don't have time for that. You have the computer back because I don't believe that you had the capacity when you turned it over to the defendant to make a gift to her. You want to give it back to the person who you say you haven't paid for it. That's totally up to you. And Miss O'Brien, I'm dismissing your counterclaim. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Sir, this way.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Sir.
I'm just disappointed that Stephanie had to go to such extremes.
After getting to know Julie, it doesn't surprise me, and Darren even said that I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I guess those were words I should have heeded.
I am the type of person that would give anybody anything.
Julie actually stated that I was having an affair with her husband.
I thought was a good friend.
This was never about a laptop. This was about revenge and of something that was untrue.
I hope that, she'll give me the chance to say I'm sorry, which she never did.
Our plan from this point on is hopefully to not have any further contact whatsoever.
Took care of your children and fed them for 12 days. Pay you in total $200.
So Judge Judy does the math.
And your job is what?
Dog groomer.
How much do they get to kennel a dog per day?
$35 a day.
Now, let's see what they get for a dog where you work. $1,260. You think your children are at least as precious as the dogs where you work?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
26-year-old Tiffany Foote is suing her former friend, Lamont Rigel, for unpaid babysitting fees and harassment.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 256 on the calendar in the matter of Foote versus Rigel.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
I need some background information, Miss Foote. How old are you?
26.
And who do you live with?
My mother.
Is she employed?
No, she's disabled. She's handicapped.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a data entry supervisor at a football stadium in downtown Detroit.
How long have you worked there?
It's been about Almost 3 years now. I mean, 3 seasons. I can't say 3 years, but 3 seasons because it's only seasonal. Tax was probably about $2,300.
$2,300?
Yeah, that's
a year.
That was what I made. Yeah, it's only seasons. It's only temporary.
Well, if you've been working for them for 3 seasons and you earned $2,300 a year, don't you think it's time you look for something else?
Yes, yes. And
well, what are you doing to look for something else?
I have been applying. Otherwise, besides on sides, probably doing hair.
So you do hair?
Sometimes. This is like just to make extra money, yes.
Well, you don't need extra money. You need money.
Yes.
You need income. Extra money is when you make enough to support yourself and you want something extra. You make $2,300 a year.
Yes.
That's not extra. I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of this case.
Okay.
Because what you're claiming is that Mr. Rigel, who was a friend of yours, agreed to pay you to watch his children. He was separated from his wife. He needed somebody to sort of pick up the slack when he had them with him, and he didn't pay you. He paid you some, but didn't pay you enough. That's what your complaint is. He's got a counterclaim. He says you're harassing him. You feel harassed, Mr. Rigel? Me too.
Yes.
In what month and year did you and your wife separate?
2010, July.
And when you and your wife separated, where did your 3 children go?
To my mom's house.
And that's where you went?
Yes.
How long had she been gone?
She was gone like 2 days before I called my uncle. He came and got me. I packed the kids' clothes. I packed what I can get, and he took me to my mom's house.
Well, why did you leave your home?
My job was close to the other side of town. Where she lived was on the other side.
Mr. Rigel, are you legally married to this lady?
Yes.
How long have you been living in the house with her? Don't look over there.
7.
Look over here.
7 years.
And your job is what?
Dog groomer at PetSmart.
And you've had that job for a long time?
Yes.
So then I still don't understand why you're moving into your mother's house unless you're moving into your mother's house so that you would have someone to help with the children.
Yes. Because at the time, my wife was always partying, going out, wouldn't come back home, wouldn't make sure I went to work. I didn't have a car. We only had 1 vehicle. And then I went to her for help.
Just a second. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm just getting the background on this case so I understand it. So your wife went out on a partying binge.
Right.
She used drugs?
No.
Drinks?
Occasionally.
Well, when she parties, what does she do?
Drink.
Has that been a problem for your family?
No, not at all.
Was this the first time your wife took off?
No.
When was the time immediately prior to July of 2010 that your wife took off?
It was January.
How long was she gone in January?
I left that time.
Oh, no, I asked you, when was the last time she left?
Oh.
So you left in January. Well, you animal people, I'm going to get the fly. Don't bother to write. So you left.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you the question again. Before July, did your wife ever leave the house with you and the children in it and take off?
No.
This was the first time?
Yes.
Did you know where she was?
No.
So you went to your mother's house. And when did you contact Miss Foote?
I contacted her the day of.
The day of what?
The day of July.
July is a month.
It was the week of the 26th because my uncle was the one that picked me up and he was on vacation all that week. He was making sure I got back and forth.
Don't tell me what he made sure. July 26th, you contacted Miss Foote. You contacted her in person or by phone?
By phone.
What did you say to her and what did she say to you?
I asked her, are you going to help me with the kids?
Are you going to help me with the kids?
Said,
that's the way you started? Are
no.
you going to help me with the kids?
Can you help me with the kids? She said yes.
Just a second. You called her up on the phone and you said, can you help me with the kids? You didn't say, my wife left, took off, she's partying, I don't know where she is, I moved in with my mother. Nothing. That wasn't part of the conversation?
No.
You just called her up and said, can you help me with the kids?
Can we watch the kids? Yes.
And what did she say to you?
She said yes.
Go ahead.
And then I asked her, how much are you going to charge me? She said, I'm not going to charge you anything because these like my godchildren. I said, no, it's something when I can. It was never a certain amount.
Just a second. When did she start watching the children?
The week of the 26th of July.
Did you bring the children to her or did she come to your mother's?
I brought the children to her.
To her home?
Yes.
The week of the 26th was a full week she watched your children? When did she watch them?
She watched them.
Don't look down.
No, I'm looking.
Look here.
She watched them maybe 4 days a week because my mom watched them.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
For how many weeks?
It was like 6, about maybe, let's see, it was about 3 weeks.
Until when?
Until my son's birthday. The week of my son's birthday.
When is your son's birthday?
August 12th.
So the plaintiff watched them for 3 weeks, 4 days a week?
Yes.
Did you keep a log, sir?
Actually, I have here. Well, I don't know if you take this or not.
I don't know if I will either. Tell me what you have.
my statement that my mother had wrote?
I don't read statements that your mother wrote.
Okay. Well.
You know better than that. Did you keep a log of when you worked at the time you worked?
Did I?
No. Oh. Did you keep a log of the days you worked when you were working?
Yes.
I'd like to see it, please.
Okay. This is where, because the 4th, the 5th, and the 7th is the days I paid my sister. I was telling her I was going to pay. I'm sorry. That's where it says Lisa. That's where she watched the kids.
No. You have.
That's all I have right now. Those are the days I asked.
Okay, take this back.
My sister.
Nobody writes on a calendar with the same pen all the time. Unless they do it on the same day. You're not following my question.
Well, no, I don't have my schedule. Yes,
that's what I asked.
I don't have my schedule.
That's what I asked you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your wife have a job?
No.
Tell her to get one. She'd have less time for partying. You the wife?
Yes.
Get a job!
And later today.
I had to call him time and time again for my money.
No, what about all the harassment? Then we had to pay for new engines.
You're all harassing me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tiffany Foote says former friend Lamont Rigel owes for 2 weeks of babysitting.
Now, Mr. Rigel, how many hours a day did Miss Foote watch your children, according to you, for the 12 days?
8 hours.
Now, you work for a dog grooming company?
Yes.
Do they also kennel dogs?
Yes. Yes.
I love this. This is going to be so perfect. And you've been working for them for how long?
3 years.
How much do they get to kennel a dog per day?
To kennel them?
Yes.
Is $35 a day.
Oh, by the way, when you brought the 3 children over on the 12th day for them?
Sometimes I did.
Not sometimes, all the time.
Because she said I didn't need to.
Don't tell me what she said. I'm asking you a question. I have a reason for my question. Did you bring food for your children?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
Never.
Because you just said to me sometimes. Now, how old are your children?
6, 4, and going on 2 next month.
Is the 2-year-old toilet trained?
Not yet.
Did you bring over diapers all the time?
Yes.
All the time?
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, he did.
Fine. Diapers, but no food?
No food.
Yeah, he wouldn't bring
Maybe
over
a couple
food.
snacks.
Okay, so she took care of your children and fed them for 12 days.
Yes.
Also,
according to you. According to you. Now, let's see what they get for a dog where you work. $35 a day times 3 equals $105 a day. Times 12 equals $1,260. Now, that's to take care of 3 dogs. So how much did you pay Miss Foote to take care of your children for the 12 days she took care of your children?
A total of $500.
You think that's reasonable?
Well, we never had a set agreement.
Do you think, that's not what I asked you, do you think that's the reason she was watching your children is so that you could go to
work?
So your wife could party?
Yes.
Does your wife have a job?
No.
Tell her to get one. She'd have less time for partying. You the wife?
Yes.
Get a job. Then you can pay her for when you were out partying. How much did he pay you in total?
He paid me $50 the first week.
And
I'm sorry, in total, $200 total. I'm sorry, $200.
Do you have any proof that you paid her any more than $200?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
First time I gave her $50. Second time I gave her $150. Third time I gave her $100. And I said when I get my 401k, I will try to, if I have anything extra, I will give you extra.
What are you talking about? Show me where it says you paid her.
We never written it down what anybody gave anybody.
Listen, Mr. Rigel, you owe her $1,000. You have to pay her. Do you understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
What I'm ordering you to pay her is what they would pay for 3 dogs at the place where you work. Okay. Now, you think your children are at least as precious as the dogs where you work?
Yes.
Tell the pretty face over here it's time to get a job. Support your 3 children on taking care of dogs. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's all. Your counterclaim for harassment is dismissed. I am harassed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She was supposed to be a friend to me, to watch my kids.
His wife, she wants to run the street. She doesn't want to watch her kids.
She's fine. I know she wouldn't do nothing bad to them.
I loved the kids. I did, of course. I knew they would kill their case. The fact that she showed up, I knew it was over. That's a wrap. He better not ever call me to watch them kids again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Clark Wells versus Taylor Garner. Step forward.
Fred Clark and his girlfriend, Akeisha Wells, are suing former friend Janice Paula Taylor and her niece, Latrice Garner, for taking their car without permission and for repair costs.
Oh, my goodness. Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Let me see if I can unravel this case. I looked at it, and my notes on it say this is some ridiculous story about a car sale. People have to find something better to do with your time than get involved in all these machinations. You bought a car from whom? Which one of these ladies?
Janice. Her.
Raise the hand.
Me.
Your last name is?
Taylor.
And you gave her $1,600. You still owed her $150, which you hadn't given her. She says you owe her a little bit more. That's really unimportant. At some point, it is your claim that they took your car.
Yes.
Stole it. And while the car was in their possession, they damaged the engine, you say, by putting sugar in the car. Then you got the car back. So you want them to pay for the damaged engine.
Yes.
And punitive damages for taking the car from you in the first place.
Yes.
All right, because it's a very long, convoluted story. Let's deal with this little by little.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why didn't you go over to give them their money? Put it in an envelope. Get a money order. Drop it off at their house.
Well, you right about that.
I know I'm right about that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Fred Clark and ex-girlfriend Akeisha Wells claim former friend Janice Paula Taylor and niece Latrice Garner stole their car. The defendants are countersuing for false arrest and for the unpaid balance of the vehicle.
All right. You purchased the car and gave her $1,600 on what date?
January the 20th.
Were you supposed to get her the other $150?
After I had my mechanic look at it and see what was wrong with it, because I can, fix little minor problems to the car, like little ball joints and stuff like that.
And when did you have your mechanic look at it?
As soon as I got it.
And?
We fixed some little minor problems to it, and, the car was running smooth then,
Nice. So why didn't you give her the other $150?
Because they never did call.
Because they didn't call?
No.
They're supposed to come calling to you?
Yes.
Why?
So I could tell them that I'm ready to give them their money.
Why didn't you go over to give them their money? Put it in an envelope. Get a money order. Drop it off at their house.
Well, you right about that. But I said you right about that, but you know.
No, I'm right about that.
Yeah.
So you didn't do that?
No.
Now, when was the car taken from you?
10, 12 days after I bought the car.
And tell me how that came about that it was taken from you.
Well, then, it really wasn't taken from me. It was taken from her because I was buying the car for her. And then, she could tell you more about when they took the car and how they took it, because I wasn't there.
So how was the car taken?
Well, Your Honor, one day I pulled up in front of the house. Me and my children had just got out. We went in the house, and not just a few minutes later, I seen Miss Taylor's daughter pull up in her.
Which daughter?
The one that's sitting down.
That would be you. Oh, very nice. Stand up.
She pulled up.
I love this kind of a lineup.
She pulled up
Perfect.
in her truck.
And what did you do when you pulled up to her house?
I pulled up to her house with myself, Latrice, and my brother.
And what did you do?
She got out and got in the car and drove it off.
Why did you do that?
Because Frederick called my mom earlier that day, said he and Keisha got into it, that she can go get the car and hold it for collateral until he get the money to pay her.
Did you do that?
No, why would I tell him to come steal a car that I paid $1,600 for?
How do we
and
steal
hold
it
it
when
for
we have
collateral?
keys?
What?
How do we steal it and we have keys?
How do y'all
Just
still
a
have
second.
keys?
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Was this your mother?
Yeah.
I don't believe her either. I think he didn't pay the $150. He was supposed to pay the $150. She told you to go and get the car and gave you the extra set of keys. That's what I think. So that's going to take care of your counterclaim, because your counterclaim is that they called and had these two girls arrested for stealing the car, right?
She was arrested.
You were arrested.
Yes.
Good. You stole the car.
Yes,
That's what happens when you take a car that you shouldn't take that way. It's what happens. You still have the car?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, and you owe $150 for it.
But Your Honor,
that's perfect.
excuse me.
That's perfect.
Oh.
You, on the other hand, are going to get what you bargained for. She did.
Fred called.
No, listen to me. I don't believe you. I think you told him to go get the car. She shouldn't have taken the car.
Yeah, after Fred asked us
I don't believe
to go
you.
get the car.
Listen to me. I don't believe you. He owes you $150
No,
for
he
your
owes
car.
me $460.
No, he owes you $150 for your car.
No,
That's what you're going
$460.
to
I
get.
have proof here that he owes me $460.
Show me the proof, and I'm more than happy to say. Let me see it.
Judge Judy continues in a... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Mr. Clark, this says that you owe her $460. You gave her $1440. I know her $460.
That thing been tampered with, Your Honor.
It's been tampered with.
Yes.
It's a possibility. But I don't see how you can make a $1,600 into a $1,440.
They must rewrote it or something, Your Honor. I know what I signed. It was $150. And I really don't have no reason to lie.
Take a look at this. What kind of car was it, by the way?
A 2001 Chrysler Concorde.
That's not even my signature.
Oh, my goodness.
Your Honor, the police report with her statement on it saying, I don't know how she keeps switching up the balance, but she told the police that we owe $300.
Can I see it, please? Well, the police said they spoke to you. Your name is Janice Taylor, isn't it? And Taylor told me, that was the police, I sold the car to Akeisha and she still owes me $300 for it. That's what the police said.
No, but I sold the car to Fred.
What's your first name?
Akeisha.
Yeah, forget it. Judgment for the defendant, $150.
No, but why?
Listen to me, period. That's on your counterclaim.
But, Your Honor,
that's what he
I
owes
had
you.
to call him time and time again for my money.
No, what about all the harassment? Then we had to pay for new engines.
You know, you're all harassing me. You bought a car. I believe you that you owe $150.
No, it's
That's what you're
$460.
going. That's what you're going to pay her. I'm dismissing her counterclaim for false arrest because she stole the car back and she shouldn't have gotten involved in somebody else's business. And I don't think that you can prove to me that any of them put sugar in your gas tank.
Exactly, but...
Goodbye.
I need my $460, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the...
He don't want to pay. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Everything was just a lie. I was the one who really suffered everything from the situation.
No comment.
I went to jail for 2 days, all because of him.
They was just crazy folks. No comment, though.
I thought he was going to be kind enough to pay me my money, but he didn't.
I don't talk to him anyway. I never did in the beginning, so it didn't affect anything as far as friendship goes.
I'm glad it's over.
I couldn't afford it at the time. Then what did you look at it for?
It was out of her price range.
I'd like to get this place, but I don't think I can make the deposit. Sort of a hint, you know?
Now he's broke.
I tapped out on my savings account to make this happen for him.
It wasn't an agreement that I was paying him back.
How many people have you given $4,000 to in your lifetime? How many people have you given $2,000 to?
Nobody.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Alfred Pereira III says ex-girlfriend Miriam Lawrenson owes for a security deposit, rent, and the return of a GPS system. Miriam claims Alfred is a scorned man.
Order. All rise. Yes, case number 129 on the calendar, the matter Pereira versus Lawrenson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat.
Mr. Pereira, you claim that you made a loan to the defendant, actually one large loan for her rent and security when she wanted to move. And then you claim that you loaned her your GPS system, which she refuses to return. You want the GPS system back, and you want the return of your money. The defendant, who was a friend of yours, you briefly dated, but then, according to you, no longer were romantically involved with, but remained friends, she says that you were more than willing to help her out. There was never any discussion of paying you back. That's what you say. How old are you?
28.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a cook at a restaurant.
You have children?
I have 3 children.
How old are they?
9, 3, and 2.
Who watches the children when you're working?
Ladies from my church.
You pay them?
Sometimes no. They know I don't make that much money.
This all sounds not very kosher to me, Miss Lawrence. So there's something here that I'm not getting. Do you understand?
Okay.
People work, they have young children, they pay for childcare. So your answers are sort of not sitting well with me.
Well, I did have a live-in babysitter, and she was not working out, and the women in the church came together and said that they helped me out.
How long have they been doing that?
For a few months now. I'm trying to get my position transferred to daytime so that I can put my kids in a daycare center, learning center.
So right now you're a cook at night?
Yes, which makes it, difficult to have a decent babysitter.
And you wanted to move from where to where?
I was living in a 1-bedroom tiny apartment with the 3 kids, and we were friends, and it was after we had that period of dating, and it was not working. I was not comfortable with it, but we remained friends, and I was looking around for a house that I could afford, and I couldn't really find one, and when I found one that I liked, he wanted the deposit.
You found, just a second, you found one that you liked?
Yes.
And what did you do when you found one that you liked?
Well, I told him about it.
You called him or you saw him?
Oh, no, he came and looked at it with me.
He did?
Yeah, he did.
How did he know to come and look at it with you?
Oh, because we were friends, and, I wanted him to see the house. But I knew I couldn't afford it at the time. And
then what did you look at it for? If you knew you couldn't afford it, what did you look at it for?
There was no price listing on it until after we looked at it with the landlord, and then I found out about it. And he knew how much I liked it. He said, kids and I get into a home more fitted for our size, and he's like, I'll give the landlord the check, not you, and you guys can move in. I talked to the landlord. The landlord said that was fine as long as the checks were good. We met on 2 occasions. One was for the deposit, and one was for the first and second month's rent. And he made the checks out to the landlord. The only agreement with him was that he didn't want to be on the lease or responsible for the house. He would help me get in it, and that was it.
When did he give you this money? In what month and year?
Last year in December.
The prior year, did you get a refund on your tax returns?
I had not worked the prior year. The first 2 years before that, I cared for my mother and my grandmother, who died 10 months apart from cancer. And I was their caretaker with them.
So this was the first year that you were expecting a refund?
I wasn't expecting that much of a refund, and we hadn't even really discussed it, and we went to Vegas. He said he was going to Vegas. He wanted somebody to go with him. I had always been clear about that we were just...
In what month are you talking about going to Vegas?
January, after he had given the landlord, the money and everything. And we were only friends at that time.
After he gave the landlord the money, did he ever stay at your home? Don't go look over there. After he gave the landlord the money, did he ever stay at your home?
He did, but it was never a physical action. It was just because he was drinking.
Did he ever stay at your home is my question.
Yes.
How often did he stay at your home?
Not often.
More than 5 times?
No.
Less than 5 times between the time you moved in and the time you went to Vegas?
Yes.
Would that be a fair statement, sir?
Yes.
Now, sir, you want to tell me the discussion about the rent when you wrote the checks to the landlord?
Yes. Miriam was telling me how she thinks she could put the funds together to make her rent. So she was telling me about it, and she showed me this place, and she said, we're thinking about this one. I was like, okay. And a couple of weeks went by, she's telling me again how she wants to get a new place. She got 3 dogs, 3 kids, little place. They don't encourage dogs and cats at her place. I was like, okay. Then she drove me to this place. We're talking. She says, I'd like to get this place, but I don't think I can make the deposit. Sort of a hint, So I thought to myself, well, if I loan you money, how am I getting paid back? And I said, I need the money because, unlike you, I'm a single guy. I have no property. I have no kids. I said, I got to pay taxes. So I'm going to be counting on that money. Oh, yeah, yes, Fred, yes. I get $1,800 a kid upon tax return. So I was like, well, I went for it. I said, okay. And she set up a meeting there. She's like, hey, we're going to meet with the landlord. I was like, okay. So I wrote him a check December 11th, 2009 for $1,875. That was for deposit and half a month's rent. And I tapped out of my savings account to make this happen for her. with her knowing I need it back. And then on January 6th, 2010, I wrote another check for $2,500, and then everything was fine. That was for first and last month's rent. So she moved in just before Christmas. She had her Christmas tree, the animals, everybody's happy. So it made me feel pretty good that I was able to do something like that for somebody, especially at that time. So time went on, came to be tax return time. I went over to Miriam's house one morning, and she's all dressed up. I was like, you look nice. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go do my taxes. You want to go? I said, yes. So I went with her down there, and we started filing her taxes. They're sorting out the paperwork, and it got to the point where she was going to give you the figure of how much she was going to get back. Then the lady stated, she's all, you got an account number to put this into? And Miriam and I discussed, when I said, how am I getting this money back? And she told me upon tax return time, I'll give the lady there or whoever at the tax place your account number to deposit it right into your account. So the lady deposited this into. And I was waiting for Miriam to say something like, oh, yeah, right here, this guy's. And no, she gets up. She said, hold on, I'm going to go look in my van for my checkbook. So when she goes looking for her checkbook, I'm sitting there starting to get nervous. I'm like, well, this ain't what we talked about. And then she comes back furious. She's like, there's got to be a mistake. This ain't right. I'm going to another place. So they wrapped it all up, put all the paperwork away. Miriam's crying. She's telling me, sorry, Fred. I wanted to ask her the question, why weren't you about to give her my account number? And she's just crying. She's crying so much. And I had to go to work at that time. So she took me to my car, and I went to work.
Was this before or after you took her to Vegas?
This was after.
After you took her to Vegas.
And then after she dropped me off, wherever she went for the second place she filed her taxes, I don't know.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're 28 years old. You have 3 children. You've been around the block 2 or 3 times, so you're a pretty savvy girl, right? How many people have you given $4,000 to in your lifetime?
And later today,
I was told to pretend like nothing was wrong and just to go along with how things were, because when the police questioned him, they wanted to catch him off guard.
Have you been prosecuted for this, sir?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Alfred Pereira III Lawrenson for a loan for a security deposit and rent, and for the return of a GPS system.
How much did you get back, Miss Lawrenson?
It was a little over $1,500.
Why didn't you give it to him?
Because it wasn't an agreement that I was paying him back.
Listen to me. If you knew that he was taking his money out of savings, and if you at least believed that he had an interest in you that was other than platonic, which is what you're going to tell me, right?
That he had an interest in, we were friends.
That he had an interest in you that was other than platonic.
I did not know he still had an interest.
Really? Really?
We had been friends and we had been fine friends. All I knew is he wanted to help me and the kids.
You're 28 years old. You have 3 children. You've been around the block 2 or 3 times. So you're a pretty savvy girl, right? How many people have you given $4,000 to in your lifetime? I want you to think about it. Give me their names, telephone numbers, and addresses.
Nobody.
How many people have you given $2,000 to?
Nobody.
Nobody. Right. Now, where's his GPS system?
I don't have it.
Where is it is my question.
Car. It was in his car. I had used his car while my van was broken down, and it was in his car. I do not have it.
Mr. Pereira, she doesn't know where your GPS system is, sir. She owes you $4,375. That's what you're the plaintiff. That's all.
Parties are excused. May step out.
With the fact that he offered the money.
Yes, of course. Took advantage of it.
And knew I couldn't afford it.
I did many things for her and her kids.
And expected it back after I wasn't willing to be in a relationship with him.
Apparently, it's not appreciated at all.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Williams versus Castillo. Step forward, please.
21-year-old Carolyn Williams is suing her ex-boyfriend, Carlos Castillo Sr., for stealing her debit card and withdrawing money without her permission.
Miss Williams, Mr. Castillo was your boyfriend, and you claim that he took your ATM card without your permission and withdrew some $1,600 from your account.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Castillo acknowledges that he withdrew money. What he says is he withdrew it with your permission and for you. So I'm going to turn to you, Mr. Castillo. How long were you and Miss Williams involved in a relationship?
For approximately 3 months.
From when to when?
September to December.
December what?
The 23rd, I moved out.
So you were living with her?
Yes, for 3 months.
How long did you know her before you moved in with her?
Approximately 7 or 8 months.
Were you paying rent when you lived with her?
No, I was not.
Why not?
Because I wasn't asked to. And I was unemployed at the time, and then I received a job in November into December, so I was unemployed for about a month and a half while I was there.
Okay, so for at least half the time you were living there, you didn't have a job.
Correct.
And where did you get your money from?
Alyssa was giving me money. I'm sorry, Carolyn. I refer to her as Alyssa because it's her middle name. Her name is Carolyn. She was handing me money when I needed it.
Well, then how were you offering her money? You were offering her back her own money?
No, I had money prior to her asking her for money.
And what caused you to move out on December 23rd, Mr. Castillo?
She was messing around with her ex-girlfriend behind my back, and I decided to move out because I couldn't handle it anymore 2 days before Christmas.
When was the money withdrawn from your account?
The 15th of December, the 21st, the 28th of December, and then the 13th of January.
Now, Mr. Castillo, the security tapes at the bank indicate that it was you on those 4 occasions who withdrew the money, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, you explained to me what you were doing withdrawing money on December 28th and January 13th, which was after you had found out she was socially messing around with somebody else to such an extent that you wanted out of the relationship. Understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. Can I?
Don't? No. You can explain it to him later.
Okay.
Because quite frankly, at my stage in life, I don't have enough time to try to explain it to you because I think I'd be here all day.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Carolyn Williams says ex-boyfriend Carlos Castillo Sr. stole her debit card and then stole her money.
How come you were using her card and her PIN number to withdraw money after the relationship was over?
Okay, well, I was doing it because I was told that she couldn't withdraw any more than $400 without her mother's permission or signature because her mother's a second holder in the account. So I was told to take them out $400 at a time because her best friend needed money for her books at school because her grant didn't come in until the month after her classes started.
So even though you thought she was messing around and cheating on you, you did this favor for her after you moved out on December 28th and January 13th.
Correct.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, we also were seeing each other after I had moved out, all the way past my birthday, which is January 20th.
Seeing each other where?
Socially at my sister-in-law's house in Hopedale.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you report this to the police?
January 15th.
Can I see the report?
Sure.
Now, Miss Williams, how did you find out that the card was missing?
I went to use the card to pay for my books for school, and I realized that my card was missing.
Now, you agreed with Mr. Castillo's statement that you two were still seeing each other.
We weren't, not romantically, but we were still hanging out as friends.
Your Honor, that's not true.
Until when?
He was correct, right past his birthday, January 21st.
My birthday, we slept
And what
together.
happened on January 21st?
We stopped seeing each other. I don't remember the exact date that the police questioned him. I was told to pretend like nothing was wrong and just to go along with how things were because when the police questioned him, they wanted to catch him off guard and not give him time to come up with a story.
Have you been prosecuted for this, sir?
No, I have not.
How come, Miss Williams?
I took him to small claims court.
Well, what about he stole your credit card?
I went to the bank and they told me that they couldn't give me the money.
Don't tell me what they could or couldn't do. I'm asking you, you went to the police because your card was missing.
Correct.
Then you found out that it was the defendant who was using your ATM card. Did you tell the police that you didn't?
They had to close the case because they couldn't prove anything either way. So they told me that they had to close it.
Well, that's ridiculous. I don't understand that at all, Miss Williams.
Me neither.
I don't understand that. You identified Mr. Castillo from the pictures at the bank. At the time you went to the police, you didn't know who had taken your card. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you view the pictures at the bank?
It was in between the 15th and his birthday.
In between the 15th and the 21st?
Yes.
And then you realized he was the one who had been withdrawing the money?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other follow-up police reports?
I don't believe so. I think that's the final one. I have the photos from...
I'd like to see them.
Your Honor, there's probably a million photos of the two of us at the bank, me pushing numbers and her sitting in the passenger seat. I just don't have access to any of the photos, even though I've requested them many a times.
I never
Why
gave
would
him my PIN number.
Mr. Castillo, why would she have gone to the police if you were still friends and hanging out? Listen to me very carefully, sir. Give me a reason, plausible reason that I can understand. Why, if you, as you said, were still friends, still hanging out, and according to you, still seeing each other.
We slept each other on my birthday.
According to you, still seeing each other. Why, coming out of her account, would she have gone to the police?
Because I moved back in with my son's mother.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Listen to me. No, she went to the police, sir.
Yes.
Nothing to do with anything.
No, she went to the police, sir, on the 15th of January.
Correct.
And you told me that you were still friends and hanging out up until your birthday.
Until after my birthday, yes.
She went to the police before
That's correct.
your birthday.
I didn't know about that.
Yes, he did.
Are you not following me?
He knew that I was
mean, are you being...
He did.
Just shh.
I was served my paperwork on February 24th from the Milford
Listen
courthouse.
to me very carefully, sir.
Okay.
There would have been no reason if you were still together as far as she was concerned in her mind. There would have been no reason for her to go to the police to get you in trouble on the 15th of January because you were still together. She would have said, well, he had my card, he withdrew the money. Am I not, is there something that I'm not seeing?
No, you got it perfectly.
Do you understand, Mr. Castillo?
No, I do not.
One.
One, that's enough. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying. Can I?
Don't. No, I don't want you to say it. I just want to
Okay.
know, make sure you understand what I'm saying. You can explain it to him later.
Okay.
Because quite frankly, at my stage in life, I don't have enough time to try to explain it to you because I think I'd be here all day. You owe us $1,600. Do you understand?
I
Goodbye.
understand that.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I helped him as much as I possibly could.
She gave me everything I wanted and needed
I
it.
bent over backwards for him, and he
Anytime, and I paid no rent and no bills.
just stole it.
Well, I'm a guy. I got needs.
If he needed it that bad, why couldn't he ask?
Want his involvement in this deal.
Why?
Because he's a stranger to me.
A home sale in these sisters' homeland.
Who did you travel with?
Miss Dickerson.
This lady.
That's correct.
Sparks an international incident.
What were you doing traveling with him in Europe for 5 weeks? Do you have family? Do you have a husband?
Yes, I do.
Do you live with your husband?
Yes, I do.
Oh, very odd.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Thomas Kirk Frosdick is suing his friend's sister, Galina Mullen, for expenses related to the sale of an apartment in the Ukraine.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 436 on the calendar in the matter of Frosdick versus Mullen.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
This is an interesting case, Mr. Frosdick. Let me try to simplify it so that I understand it, because I'm a simple girl. The defendant and her mother owned an apartment in Kiev, correct?
Correct.
How long have you and your mother owned that apartment?
From 1964, I guess.
And you and the defendant's sister are friends,
Yes, Your Honor. I'm friends with the entire family.
but more friendly with her sister.
No, Your Honor.
I'm going to tell you why that's not true, Mr.
Okay.
Frosdick. Because your complaint alleges that the defendant's mother and her sister, you the sister?
Yes.
They both signed an agreement to pay you Kiev and facilitate the sale of the apartment, correct?
That's correct.
Two people signed a written agreement. The mother, who owned half, and this lady, the sister, who didn't own anything. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The defendant signed nothing, correct?
Correct.
That would lead me to believe that you were more friendly with this sister than this sister. Because if you were just as friendly with this sister as you were with this sister, both of them would have signed the agreement. Do you understand where we're going, Mr. Frosdick?
I do.
Great. So you have the signed agreement from one owner to pay expenses, not from the defendant. And you and this sister traveled to Kiev when?
Twice, Your Honor, in July.
In July of 2010.
That's correct.
How long were you away each time?
In July, we were away for 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
In November, we were away for 2 weeks.
Shh.
All right.
Now, there's no question that you did not spend 5 weeks in Kiev.
You're correct.
Where else did you go?
Throughout all of Europe.
And throughout all of Europe, who did you travel with?
Miss Dickerson.
This lady.
That's correct.
Not with this lady.
That's correct.
You traveled with her. Went back in November. For what reason, sir?
The first time we went, we could not sell the apartment, so the broker called, and we went back to sell the apartment, and we had 2 weeks to do it.
The two of you?
Yes.
Went back in November. And when you went back in November, did you stay solely in Kiev or did you go elsewhere?
Stayed solely in Kiev.
And where did you stay in Kiev?
At an apartment that we rented.
A different apartment that the two of you rented?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, who facilitated the sale of the apartment?
Miss Dickerson.
What did you do?
I was asked to go by her husband to keep her safe and to spend the money, in which I would be reimbursed for, to pay all the fees.
And to spend money?
To pay the fees.
Keep her safe and to spend money?
Yes.
So what do you want from her? She came, she was smart. She knew the apartment was going to be sold. She hadn't given anybody a power of attorney. Is that right? So she came, collected her money, and left.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I had power. Miss Dickerson had power of attorney for her.
For her?
Yes, and for her mother.
I'd like to see what that power of attorney said.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the agreement that you have with Miss Dickerson and her mother with regard to payment for you.
And, Your Honor, I also have a verbal agreement from...
I'm not buying a verbal agreement, sir, not when you have a written one with two people.
Well, Your Honor, I took them to the Ukrainian consul in San Francisco. On the way, we discussed, when we had those signed, we discussed how this was going to work. If we sold the apartment, I would be reimbursed. Listen, she made the agreement.
Listen to me,
I'm listening.
sir, very carefully. You have written agreements with two people, and there was nothing to preclude her from signing an agreement herself. She chose not to do that. She chose not to do that, right?
Well, she didn't make the time for it, yes.
She chose not to do it. This binds her mother, for whom she has a power of attorney, maybe. But this power of attorney is very specific. This power of attorney that she signed says that her sister can deal with everything related to the sale of her apartment, can sign any document, pay any fees, do anything that's necessary, including collecting money for the sale. It has nothing to do with paying for your living expenses and fees for 7 weeks in Europe. Nothing to do with that. Move over here. Did you get any money from the sale of the apartment?
No, I'm not.
You're not because?
Not because my sister took half money.
Your sister took half the money because half the money was your sister's.
No, this money not belong to her.
Yes, it does, Miss Dickerson. If the apartment was in her name and in your mother's name, half of it belonged to her.
No, I grew up in this apartment too, but I took my name from this apartment. She did not. And mother been living there 20 years, and she never helped her. Never.
Listen, this is a family issue. The legal issue is very clear. Real property is owned by the people who have it titled. She owned part of the property, and your mother owned part of the property. Now, your mother can say to you, listen, I intended for my two daughters to have the property, so Galina has half, and I'm going to give you my half. Your mother can say that.
And she did.
So she should have given you half the money, but she didn't.
No, she did. Because
she did, just a second. So your mother did give you half the money, so each of you got half, right? Perfect. And your problem is you want her to pay his expenses and other expenses that he had in going to Europe. She chose not to do that. You can't encumber her half with that. Now, did you pay him any money?
Yes, I did.
How much money did you pay him?
$37.70.
So almost $4,000. Now, who paid for his airfare?
He did.
Alone, and he didn't ask to be reimbursed for that?
No.
And who paid for the hotel?
I did ask to be reimbursed for my airfare.
You did?
I did. Everything that I paid out was airfare, bribes, government fees.
And you got half?
I have half of what I spent, yes.
She didn't obligate herself to give you any money. She didn't obligate herself, and you understand legally she didn't obligate herself to give you any money?
I understand that twice she gave me a verbal agreement, and I understand that she signed a power of attorney. I understand that her sister talked to her, and the only reason I did this was because we were going to be reimbursed if the sale of the apartment went through. I spent approximately $9,500 to get them over there and get the sale done. She got $39,000. She got $36,000. I did what I said I would do. And I believe that I am entitled to that money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Would you tell me why you didn't sign that agreement?
I had specific involvement in this deal.
Why?
And later today.
You know how dumb that sounds?
That sounds dumb. If someone
That's absolutely dumb.
I agree.
Somebody who has 3 jobs and just bought their own home is dumb. They may have been taken by somebody who's a little bit of a con artist.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kirk Frosdick says he helped Galina Mullen sell a family apartment in the Ukraine. He claims Galina owes for the reimbursement of his expenses.
Your problem is you have a written contract with 2 people, but not with her.
But I have a power of attorney from the Ukrainian consul.
Yeah, you have a power of attorney doesn't cover bribes. The power of attorney is the standard power of attorney for real estate. It doesn't cover bribes
But
to
it
local
does cover,
officials.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. It does cover spending money, though, does it not?
No, it doesn't cover bribes, sir. I give my lawyer a power of attorney to act on my behalf to sign certain documents because I'm not going to be in town when I sell a piece of property. But if my attorney said to me, you know what, I had to give $10,000 to the guy in Greenwich before he'd record the mortgage, I would say to him, that would be your problem. That's not what my plans for legal things that you do in order to get property transferred. And there is nothing here that mentions you at all. Nothing in the power of attorney that mentions you at all. My problem actually with you, sir, is that you managed to get with 2 of the participants a written agreement to reimburse you for whatever expenses you had, but you didn't get any from her. Would you tell me why you didn't sign that agreement to reimburse him for expenses?
Because, Elgana, we didn't have any conversation about that with him. And I specifically talked to my sister about it. I didn't want his involvement in this deal.
Why?
Because he's a stranger to me. I don't believe him, I don't trust him, and I just don't want any strangers in family business.
When did you know that he was going over with her?
In last summer, she said they are going to take a tour to Europe, and they will drop to Kiev to make arrangements, you know, while traveling in Europe.
What were you doing traveling with him in Europe for 5 weeks?
What was? First, we went to Kiev. This is first.
Get Kiev.
Things.
What were you doing traveling in Europe with him for? Do you have family? Do you have a husband?
Yes, I do.
Very odd. Very strange.
Your Honor, may I speak?
Yeah.
First, we took the trip to Europe because I wanted to see Europe. I was already over there. She could go. Her husband had no problem with it. And we were going to go back to Kiev if the broker came through on the sale of the apartment in July. We went back again because the broker finally told us in November he had a buyer.
I'm talking about July, sir.
Yes.
I'm talking about spending 5 weeks in July. I don't understand a tour of 5 weeks in July with this lady. I just don't, you know, it's all strange. In any event, sir, I think that you have to look to your friend, Miss Dickerson, because that is who you have a written contract with, and you have a written contract to reimburse you for expenses. I assume she was there when you greased whatever officials you had to grease, if in fact you had to grease anybody. This lady wasn't there, but she was smart enough to get there in order to get her hands on her half of the money. Right? Thank you. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She would like to have my part of money because...
Well, I think the bankruptcy attorney put it best.
That's what she wanted.
If you're going to do business with this woman, don't.
She wants money.
I just proved why.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Arzavala versus Greer. Step forward.
25 former friend, Deidre Greer, for the cost of a plane ticket to attend a wedding in Barbados.
Miss Greer, how do you know the plaintiff?
I used to work with her.
Where and for how long?
Probably like 4 years at Cracker Barrel.
What did you do there?
I was a server there.
And the plaintiff, what was she?
She was a server also.
This lawsuit is about a plane ticket that the plaintiff purchased in your name. And the plane ticket was to go to where?
Barbados.
What was in Barbados?
2 of our friends was getting married down there.
Their names?
Marla and LJ.
Did they know each other from the restaurant?
We all know all of us from the restaurant.
How many people were going to attend the wedding?
Probably like 6 or 7 people.
Did they ask you to go to the wedding?
They asked me and Stephanie asked me.
No. Did Marla and LJ ask you?
Yes.
Is the question.
Yes.
Tell me about your invitation to the wedding. Did it come verbally or did it come in the mail?
Came verbally.
From whom?
From LJ and Marla.
At the same time?
No, Marla said it first. Marla asked me first.
And when she asked you, what did you tell her?
I told her I wasn't for sure if I could go or not.
And then LJ asked you?
And I told him the exact same thing.
And then what happened?
And then,
look at me.
Then after LJ and Marla both came to me and asked me, Stephanie had asked me, did I want to go? Because some more girls was going also.
And what did you tell Stephanie?
That I wasn't for sure if I could go and do everything else at one time.
Is that what you told her?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Then Stephanie told me that she would pay for the trip for me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Don't give me baloney, Miss Greer.
She knew my name on my birthday. She worked
Don't
for me
tell
for
me
4 or
what
5
she
years.
knew. I'm smarter than you are.
You might be.
I know I am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Stephanie Arzavala says former friend Deidre Greer owes for the cost of a plane ticket to Barbados. Deidre claims she never agreed to pay Stephanie back.
Now, she would pay for it.
Yes.
For you to go.
Yes.
Who do you live with, Miss Arzavala?
I live alone.
And you make your living and support yourself as a server in a restaurant?
Mm-hmm. That's one of 3 jobs.
What other jobs do you have?
I'm a receptionist at a chiropractor's office, and then I work as a barista at Schnucks.
And you work those 3 jobs for what reason?
I just bought a house this year, so to pay for my house, and then I have 3 cats, and 2 of them got really sick, so I have a lot of vet
So you take
bills.
care of your bills?
Yes.
And who do you work for?
I work for Buffalo Wild Wings right now.
Another restaurant?
Yes, ma'am.
As a server?
Yes, ma'am.
And how many people do you take care of?
I have myself, my 2 kids, and my dog.
How many jobs do you have? And your dog?
Yes, ma'am.
Because she has 3 jobs. The reason I ask you that question is, why would somebody with 3 jobs agree to pay for your plane ticket out of pocket almost $800?
You can ask her. She offered it to me.
No, that's not what she says.
Yes.
What she says is,
That's exactly
in her
what she said.
I am speaking. What she says is that you said to her, if you lay out the money, I'll pay you back. That's why we're in court.
No, I told her if I wasn't for sure if I could pay her back.
Oh, now that's a different story, Miss Greer. First you said I wasn't for sure whether I could go. Now you're telling her.
I said I wasn't for sure if I could go or pay her back.
Listen,
that's what I said.
When my mouth is going, yours doesn't.
Okay. Go ahead. It's on you.
Oh, I know. The reason I asked that question was, and it was sort of a rhetorical question, I just don't see someone who has 3 jobs to take care of their own expenses, so they're working lots of hours a day, is going to spend $800 on a stranger who works 1 job to take care of 3 people. I don't see it. I could see her saying, listen, I'll lend you the money. Go get another job. Go work another job. I work 3, you work 2. You don't want to go on this trip, you don't go on the trip. But then you got fired from the job?
Yes.
So you got, and stuck her with the ticket, because now you don't see
No.
LJ.
That's not it. No, before I got fired from my job, LJ and Marla the wedding was canceled before I even got fired. They decided not to even go.
Oh, just a second. So the wedding got canceled?
Yes, the wedding got canceled.
But the ticket had already been purchased?
I never knew nothing about that.
Just a second. Of course you did, because you have to put in your name, you have to put in your date of birth in order to get a ticket. Don't give me baloney, Miss Greer.
She knew my name on my birthday. She worked with me for 4 or 5 years.
Don't tell me what she knew. I'm smarter than you are.
You might be.
I know I am.
You might be.
Because certain things don't make sense to me.
Okay.
If somebody has unlimited funds, they may say to a very, very dear friend, listen, this is a big function and I really want you to go. I don't want you to miss it. So if you don't have the money, I'll lay out the money for you and you pay me back when you can. That I can understand. I never heard of anybody saying, I can pay you back, maybe, but not for sure.
I thought I wasn't for sure.
Just a second. That's what you just said to me. You said to me, not for sure. I don't know if I can pay you back for sure.
I could go, period, to the trip.
No, that's not what you just said. Do you want me to play back the tape?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Not for sure. First you said it wasn't for sure that I could go. Then you said I told her I wasn't for sure that I could pay her back. I said, that doesn't make sense. You're working 3 jobs and somebody says, you know, I can lend you the money. You say, well, I would like you to lend me the money for the ticket or you buy the ticket. Maybe I'll be able to pay you back. You know how dumb that sounds?
That does sound dumb if someone said that.
That's absolutely dumb.
I agree.
Somebody who has 3 jobs and just bought their own home isn't dumb. They may have been taken by somebody who's a little bit of a con artist. Yeah, right. Wow. Well, because the wedding was canceled, then you got fired, and I assume you got fired for a reason.
Yeah, I got fired for a reason.
I'm sure you got fired for a reason. How much was her ticket?
$779.
Is the ticket still in her name?
Yes.
Yeah.
She has a credit with the airline.
You can go wherever you want to go, do whatever you want to do, take your lovely sister with you. $779, judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
May step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Very frustrating, especially when she denied owing the money.
Because at first, I didn't think I owed her the money.
Because she told me over and over she would pay me back.
I didn't think I owed her the money, but
she was just lying the whole time.
She got her money, so everything's fine.
Finally get my money back, and now we can...
We're not enemies. We're not mad at each other or anything like that.
A lucky strike.
You met him at a bowling league?
Till they ended up in the gutter.
All she's done is harass me.
He was texting me those nasty emails while he was in bed with another woman. He's taking pictures of me behind my back and sending me pictures.
I'll be more than happy to see those. You're not a complete victim here of some stalking lady. You got me?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Kay Kinniston is suing her former friend, Kevin Nagy, for the cost of a vacation. Kay says Kevin backed out and the fees are non-refundable.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 369 on the calendar in the matter of Kinniston versus Nagy.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Party's been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Ms. Kinniston, it is your claim that the defendant owes you for a trip that you booked that he was supposed to accompany you on along with his daughter. Mr. Nagy says that it was your idea, you booked it without solidifying the events with him, and that you've become real pain in the neck, been annoying him, been annoying his daughter, and he wants you to leave him alone. You met him at a bowling league, is that where you met?
Correct.
Tell me when that was.
Probably about 3 years ago is when I first met him.
Did you ever date Mr. Nagy?
Well, in April, we started seeing each other. When we started having dinner all the time, we started going places.
Okay, so now tell me about this trip.
So on June 16th, we'd gone to dinner, and we went through my little day timer, and I had dates of his summer schedule.
Why did you have his summer schedule in your date planner?
Because we were trying to book our vacation or book our time in Chelan, and so I was writing down when Haley was gone.
Go ahead.
So we sat down to look at weekends or dates. He was also taking a trip to Disneyland with Haley, and Haley was at camp. She was with her mother for a week, so we were trying to find a weekend that would work. We were taking Haley to Chelan, Washington, to the water slides. So I said, go ahead and you pick the dates that work for you. I can make it work. So he did.
He did what?
He picked the dates
What did he say? Tell me,
We
pick
were
the
going
date.
to leave the 17th of July, which is a Saturday, and we were going to come back on Tuesday. That was the night before.
Night before what?
Before we were supposed to leave. So it was the night of the 16th.
Just a minute, we didn't get to the point where you made the arrangements.
I made the arrangements on the 17th.
On the 17th of what?
In June, I made the arrangements to go.
Why didn't he make the arrangements?
Because I had been there before.
Why didn't you just say, this is the place where I think we should go? If you're taking your daughter, you make the arrangements.
We just had agreed that I would do it. So I did it.
Tell me how that agreement came about. That's what this is all about.
We sat at dinner and we talked about it. I said, okay, what day do you want me to call and what day should we do this for? He pointed out the days and said, I think this will work. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and solidify the dates then. And I called him or texted him the day that I did it and said, okay, I've done that. Here's when we're going. And I was talking to him on the phone and he said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay all those days. And I said, Kevin, I would have appreciated if you let me know ahead of time. You know I can't make any cancellations. So we had talked about maybe taking separate cars, and that was a workaround. That was fine with me. So Saturday morning, I went to pick him up and knocked on the door. No one was home. And I left and went back into town, did some errands, and then I went back about an hour later, knocked on the door, no one was home. Then I get a text from him that said, is that you knocking on the door? Knock it off, Kevin. We are supposed to check in by 3 o'clock. What's going on here? And he never did respond. I said, okay, I'm going to go. I guess I'm going to drive over, and I expect you to be there, that you'll be there by dinner time, because I don't know what's going on.
Your Honor.
Okay, now your version, Mr. Nagy.
Okay, thank you. I known her from bowling. That's all we were just friends. But it was late June, early July. She said she needed to go on vacation.
Look at me.
Okay.
Late
June.
Just make sure, Mr. Nagy, I want to tell you something. I'm getting a picture in my mind, so just let's make sure you tell me what the truth is.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't make up any stories.
No, there's no
and then we're going to be just fine.
No stories. Late June, early July, she told me that she needed a vacation. She needed to get out of town. She hasn't
Stop playing with papers.
She hasn't been there on a vacation in a while. I told her that I don't have any time to go on vacation, this or that. Well, she said because my daughter's birthday and my birthday is in July, she says because she booked a condo trip, it was an extra room, she said we could go and this would be a way to celebrate our birthdays. And I told her that there's no way that I'm going to be able to take off these days even if I wanted to go. And I told her that I don't want to go. So then, July 16th, we're going to play softball.
Who's going to play softball?
We're played on a softball team with her that she paid for me to play summer.
Okay, and what do you mean she paid for you to play?
She needed extra players to play. I got an email here that says, we just lost another player. Can I bribe you to play? So I agreed, I agreed to play. Plus, there's, okay, well, I'll just submit all the other, and I'll explain it up there.
Keep going.
Okay, so around the Friday, we had a softball game. She did call me and wanted to know if I was going to play, and she talked about this trip that she suddenly surprised me with. I did not know that there was a trip booked till after I got back from Disneyland. But prior to that, I mean, she's just, all she's done is harass me. She's called me. She's texted me. I explained to her I just don't even want to be friends anymore. And this continues.
You mean after the...
No, this has kind of been how it's kind of been throughout the summer.
When you were away at Disney...
Yes.
Did you communicate with the plaintiff, or did she communicate with you?
I believe she communicated me with the text or something, asked me how I was doing on the trip, this or that.
Did you respond?
I believe I did.
So she would text you and say, how was the trip and whatever?
How's it going? Or, hey, how you doing? What are you doing? Yeah.
And you responded?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct. He sent me pictures.
And did you send her pictures?
I believe I sent a picture of me and my daughter and Minnie Mouse.
Okay. So what you have to understand, Mr. Encouraging her to do that. You do understand. So that you're not a complete victim here of some stalking lady. When you send a text or in any way reach out, that encourages the behavior that you seem to want to discourage.
But I've sent many texts, I meant, because of how she has been. Emails that I've said that I said, leave me alone, no more texts.
No.
It got to the point.
I'm talking,
in Disneyland.
the ones when you said, leave me alone, sir, was in October.
Yeah.
I'm talking about during the summer. You said to me, it was all during the summer. She was annoying me. She was bothering me. So I asked you a simple question. When you were at Disney in July, Did you, in fact, communicate with her? And you said yes, so
Yes.
it wasn't all summer.
It wasn't all summer.
And you didn't get back from Disney until July 10th. So now part of the summer is gone.
Okay.
And then, according to her, you were scheduled to go on this vacation on the 17th. So it was merely a week before that you were, in fact, voluntarily communicating with her. That doesn't mean you owe her any money. I haven't even heard from her that you owe her any money.
Yes.
I gave her a whole opportunity to tell me the story. And there was nowhere in the story that you agreed to pay for this trip. She said, I'll go ahead and book the trip. There was no contractual obligation there. But I don't like when you tell me this story that you were trying to get away from her all summer when you were, in fact, encouraging it.
Okay.
Now you got me?
I got you.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So can we talk about the harassment?
What
He's
harassment?
taking pictures of me behind my back. He's got text messages that are nasty.
You want to show me a picture?
I've got
Of
some
what?
things for you.
And later today,
Do you think your son had a drug problem?
I know he has a drug problem. They wake up in the morning, they smoke weed for lunch, dinner, midnight snack.
Mother said you had a drug problem.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kay Kinniston says former friend Kevin Nagy owes for backing out on a vacation. Kevin claims Kay is a stalker.
So it was after the 17th of July when this kerfuffle happened over the vacation that you wanted her to leave you alone.
Well, actually, it started the 16th before, but...
So the 16th?
Yes.
Before. Now, did you play softball subsequent to the 16th of July?
Yes.
When?
We played every Friday.
Now, what kind of conversation you were playing ball?
Okay. At the game, I didn't speak a word with her because prior to going to the game, I told her that I'm not going because of what I just explained.
I'm not, just listen to me.
Okay.
We're beyond the trip.
Okay. So at the game, I never said a word to her. She approached my daughter during the game and said, "Are you excited to go to Chelan?"
Listen to me. What part of I'm beyond that didn't you understand? I'm beyond the trip.
Okay.
I said, after the trip, did you have any softball games? You said yes.
Oh.
I said, what conversations did you have with her at those softball games after the trip?
I did not have any conversations at the games. I didn't even finish the season out.
That's what I wanted to know. When was the last time you played?
It ended sometime early August, I believe.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, good. It's not a very difficult situation. He's finished, not interested. You were more interested than he was, but you have no contract with him that requires him to pay any part of this vacation that you paid for. You had no, according to you, you had no contract with him. You had no contract with him to pay for half. You had no contract with him to reimburse you for any tickets. The thing that you are angry at is that he chose not to go.
No.
Listen to me. I can pause.
Well, there's more to
There was
it.
no, I didn't, I let you tell me your piece. I let you tell me about what happened on June 16th when you sat down and went over your calendar. You said you would make the arrangements. You texted him and you told him that it was done the next day. And the next thing that you testified to that happened was on the 16th when you called him of July, he said, I'm not going.
He said I can't stay all of those days.
I don't care what he said. You had no contract with him. And that's what courts are about. Courts are about contracts. Now, I will certainly allow you to show me at this point if you have any agreement by him, either by way of acknowledgement in a text message or anything else in writing that he agrees to pay you for the trip. I'll certainly look at that. Do you have any of that?
I sent him a text message after we got back and said...
Just a second. Don't tell me about a text message. If you have it, I'll look at it.
Well, I don't have that one with
Well,
me.
then
It's on a phone that's dead.
Then,
so.
Just a second. Do you have something that I can read that comes from his phone that acknowledges a debt to you?
No, but he did tell me he sent me a check.
Can't help you, Miss Kay.
So can we talk about the harassment?
It was what
He's
harassment?
taking pictures of me behind my back and sending me pictures. He's got
a picture?
I've got
Of
some
what?
things for you.
Of what?
This is a picture he took behind my back at
So what?
bowling.
I don't care. What else?
I've got some text messages that he sent.
Just a second. I'll be more than happy to see those. Do those tell you to leave him alone?
No.
I'd like to see them. Leave me alone.
Well,
that's the first one.
Please.
I was not texting him. He was texting me those nasty emails while he was in bed with another woman, and I wasn't interested.
You don't listen to me. Change your phone number.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I think that you've probably so fried your brain that you think that standing here gives you a license to go toe-to-toe with me. It does not. This is my playpen. Now do we understand each other?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Kay Kinniston says former friend Kevin Nagy owes for backing out on a vacation. Kevin claims Kay is a stalker.
Change your phone number. People have to learn to use these text messages and internet and everything else to better purposes than this. But we need these things to her, please. Leave each other alone. It's over. Finished. Want to play ball? You know, play with your own friends. That's all.
I agree. As far as our excuse, may step out.
Well, to be honest with you, it was a good decision.
Well, Kevin's lying.
I don't even know why we even went to court over something like this.
He knew about the trip the whole time.
This is ridiculous.
He's a nasty man.
As you see, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
He says really obscene things to women.
You got to look at the situation. She's a little wacky.
And he treats women very badly.
I'm a good father and a good person, and hey.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Roby versus Roby. Step forward.
Paul Roby Jr. is suing his mother, Michelle Roby, for moving costs, utility bills, the return of property, and an assault.
Mr. Roby, is this your girlfriend?
She's my wife now.
You have children?
No, I have no children.
Do you work?
Yes.
Who do you work for?
I do signatures.
You do what?
Signatures.
What does that mean?
I collect signatures. I let people know that this is to help keep sex offenders in jail, and I get signatures and I get paid by the signature.
What does your wife do?
She's a nurse.
She worked full-time?
Yes.
Did she work full-time when you were living with your mother?
Yes, she was a nurse.
And you?
Yes.
Collecting signatures?
Yes.
Did you ever have a drug?
No, I've never had a drug problem.
Do you think your son had a drug problem?
I know he has a drug problem. Both of them have a drug problem. Okay, they smoke weed. I have a lot of pictures to show all of the weed burns and the carpeting, and also in their bed and on the walls. They wake up in the morning, they smoke weed for lunch, dinner, midnight snack.
Got it. This is what your lawsuit is about, Mr. Roby. You claim that your mother assaulted you and then destroyed your property when she threw it after an argument that you had with her. She threw it out, threw it on the lawn, got all muddy and destroyed.
Yes.
Your mother says that you actually assaulted her, and she has a counterclaim for assaulting her and for denting her car that she was letting you and your now wife use. Were you using your mother's car?
Well, it wasn't her Toyota.
Whose was it?
It was mine.
Did you purchase it?
My brother purchased it. I had a Chrysler Sebring. I had a lot of problems with the Chrysler Sebring. My brother told me he would buy me another car in exchange that I would junk the Chrysler Sebring and give him the money for the car. Now, what she did is when she went to go pick the car up, she put the car in her name instead of letting me put it in mine, even though I drove the car consistently. She has 3 other cars.
Just a second. How much did you pay for the car?
No, my brother paid for the car.
How much did you pay for the car?
I didn't pay anything. I gave my brother the money for the junk.
Have you always lived with your mother's house? In what year?
I was 21. I had stayed with another girlfriend of mine in Moreno Valley for a couple years.
When you stay in your mother's house, do you pay her rent?
Yes.
How much?
I paid her $300. I started paying her $400 once she moved in.
And how long has your girlfriend lived there with your mother?
I honestly couldn't tell you exactly. I would estimate a couple years.
How long?
She's lived with me for 5 years.
Your son pay you rent every month?
My son hasn't paid a dime. Neither has his girlfriend. And as far as work...
Why do you let them stay with you?
Well, I felt sorry for her. He brought her into my house because she couldn't live with her mother. She couldn't live with her twin sister.
Supposedly drug addicts, but she feels sorry for us.
Judge Judy continues. Are you in a family dispute? Go to JudgeJudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Go ahead.
And my son, he dropped out of high school. He's been with me for 28 years. He did move out for about 2 months with another girlfriend, but they didn't get along. But he's lived with me all the other time.
You have any other children who live with you?
Yes, I have 2 others.
How old are they?
One is 32, and the baby, he's in college, so he's like away at college.
Now, one of your brothers got married.
Yes, my younger brother got married on the...
And your mother had in her freezer a piece of the wedding cake. You come home on August 18th, and you want to put some food in the freezer. And the wedding cake is there, so you take the wedding cake out of the freezer, and what do you do with it?
Put it in the refrigerator.
Why?
Because I think it's more important to save food that you are going to eat versus food that you're not going to eat.
Whose choice was that that's more important?
I believe that it's common sense to save food that you are going to eat versus food that you're not going to eat.
Food that you are going to eat, you put in the refrigerator.
You need food to survive, so if you're not going to eat the food, I don't think it's too important to keep the food.
Do you think you're going to be a wise guy with me, Mr. Roby?
No, I'm
Do you know what side of the bench you're standing on? Plaintiff side. Do you know how fast I can get rid of you? As quickly as it says, case dismissed.
I understand that.
Yeah, I just want you to understand that. Your wife may think you're adorable. I, on the other hand, sir, do not. I think that you've probably so fried your brain that you think that standing here gives you a license to go toe-to-toe with me. It does not. This is my playpen. Now do we understand each other?
I understand. You asked me a question, I answered the question.
Well, you answered my question in what I perceive to be a smart aleck way.
Well, wouldn't you agree that it's more important to keep food that you are going to eat versus food that you're not?
Case dismissed.
Excuse me, step out.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The more I look at him, the more I wonder, is this really my son?
I didn't cause the situation, so I don't feel like I should be the one that has to mend it. You know what I mean?
So I want a DNA test to determine is he really mine? Did I really produce that?
I just look at her like I don't need that kind of drama in my life. You know what I mean?
Actually, I'm not being cold. I mean, I'm thinking back, and I really think that they switched babies on me in the hospital.
I think something's wrong with her medulla oblongata.
I want them to leave me alone permanently after the DNA.
The two of you broke your lease.
I didn't actually realize that this was going to turn out so bad.
An ex's parting shot.
She's crazy. I just want it over.
But she's not done with him.
What kind of money do you think she's looking for, sir?
Evidently $1,400 and some change, Your Honor. I'll tell you right now, Your Honor, that's not happening. If you're asking what I will pay, I understand.
Not will pay. I didn't ask you what you will pay, sir.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
22-year-old Morgan Cavanaugh is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old Zachary Harrell, and for destroying her belongings.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 485 on the calendar, the matter of Kavanaugh versus Harrell.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Ms. Kavanaugh, the defendant is your ex-live-in boyfriend. According to your complaint, he caused some damage to the apartment where you were living, causing you to lose your security deposit. That's really the thrust of your lawsuit. Lots of other things. Destroyed your flashcards from school in a fit of anger. But mostly this case is about the security deposit. Now, Mr. Harrell, when did you and Miss Kavanaugh start living together in this apartment, sir?
In this apartment, I believe the beginning of June.
Of what year?
2010.
And what was the rent on the apartment?
It was $1,000 for the rent. It was $150 for her dog.
Were you on the lease?
Yes.
Are you still living there?
No.
Are you still living there?
No, ma'am.
When did you move out, Mr. Harrell?
The 20th of September.
And when did you move out?
September 10th.
So you stayed 10 days after she moved out?
Well, I didn't really know what was going to happen with the condo.
Just a second. Just answer my question. You stayed on 10 days after she...
Yeah, the rent, so I had the whole month, yes.
What about her? She didn't pay rent?
For all I know, I was being very naive in the whole situation.
Mr. Harrell, I asked a question. September 1st.
I put all my money in her account so I could pay the bills and try and be like the hero kind of guy. And she kind of took one over on me. I know it's my fault. I know I'm childish for it. It'll never happen again.
Mr. Harrell, I asked you a simple question.
So I don't know.
Who paid the rent on September 1st?
I paid the rent.
Is that correct?
He paid half and I paid half.
Okay, so the incident that caused the two of you to separate occurred on what date?
Well, I broke up with him before I moved out, and that's what progressed things to get violent the way they were. And then I moved out on September 10th.
So what happened, according to what I've read in these papers, This was a one-bedroom, one-bathroom apartment. You locked yourself in the bedroom. And he busted the door down because that was where the bathroom was.
There was a bathroom downstairs, Your Honor.
Did it have a shower?
No, ma'am.
That's what he says. He wanted to take a shower. Now, you can't lock him out.
I've been locked out of the house on several occasions.
Did it look as if I was asking you a question?
No, ma'am.
You can't lock him out.
Your Honor, actually what happened was he came home really drunk one night and he's upset at this. So I went in the room and I locked the bedroom door.
Well, who had been sleeping in the bedroom?
I had.
And where was he sleeping?
We had a loft. It was like a separate bedroom.
So far, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. It was just easier that way.
Okay. So the issue of security deposit is the security deposit was money that you put in.
Yes,
is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct, Mr. Harrell?
I put in half of that. It was cash. I know I don't have any transaction because I did hand her cash for a Western Union money order because that was the only thing that the real estate agency would take because they wouldn't take cash or personal check. So I handed her the cash. She went to 7-Eleven with the cash that she borrowed from her father, and she got the Western Union check. I never had intentions on moving in with her.
I don't care. Listen, you want to tell me about your whole relationship, you got the wrong place. I'm not interested in your whole relationship.
You're right.
How much was the security deposit?
$1,400.
And how much did you give her?
$750.
Where'd you get it from?
Work. I work hard, ma'am.
Great. Do you have any proof of where you took the money from to give her $750 in cash?
No, because it was frivolous at the time. I didn't actually realize that this was going to turn out so bad.
Yeah, well, it turned out really bad.
You're right.
Anyway, do you have any notification from the landlord with regard to his keeping the security deposit?
For him keeping it?
Yes, he said he kept the security deposit. You want him to pay the entire security deposit because he caused damage to the apartment. It seemed to me if the two of you broke the lease, that's why the landlord would keep the security deposit. You moved out in September. Did you pay October's rent?
Yes, ma'am. We both.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Paid October?
Yes.
Show me.
I don't have anything to show
you. Pay October's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any proof?
I have a receipt in here somewhere.
At that time, somebody else was already living in the condo, so...
Listen to me. I don't know that's true at all. All I want to see is you say you paid October's rent, but you have no proof. She says she paid October's rent. She said she had proof. I'm waiting to see the proof.
Okay, here it is.
Thank you.
That's my half, Your Honor.
Oh, this is September 23rd. I don't know what this is.
It's a deposit into our landlord's bank account. She just gave us deposit slips to deposit into her account.
I'd like to see it.
Here are the slips that she gave us, but that's not the one I filled out because I gave it to the bank. And that's the receipt I got.
Okay. So all I need is your proof that you paid the rent in October.
The only proof that I have that I paid the rent in October is that the only thing they took was the $1,400 off of the security deposit. October was paid for. They changed the lock.
Let me see.
They changed the lock.
Let me see that breakdown from the landlord.
Yeah, I don't have anything from the landlord.
Well, then I can't help you, Mr. Harrell.
They never contacted me for it.
Listen to me, Mr. Harrell. I don't know whether this is an act or not, sir. And quite frankly, I don't care. If you know you're coming to court and you know what you're being sued for, and your defense is that the landlord didn't take out any money because you broke the lease, you would have a breakdown from the landlord of what they're taking money out for from your security deposit. You don't have that. Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He got sick all over the bathroom one morning and left it there and didn't clean it up, and it was there to the day that we moved out. I actually have pictures of it still there.
I'll tell you right now, Your Honor, that's not happening.
And later today...
This is the boyfriend?
Yes.
Did you cause any damage to our car?
No.
Speak!
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Morgan Kavanaugh says ex-boyfriend Zachary Harrell owes for damages he caused to their apartment and for destroying her belongings.
I don't know what this is. They charge for October's rent.
Here, and I could explain.
I don't know what this means at all.
Can I show you what I got?
Yes. I have no idea what this means at all.
I've got the police report from when she called the police on me stating that I was... I'm sorry, I just talked really loud.
I don't want to see a police report. I'm just trying to figure out why they kept security deposit of $11.50.
Well, this is another thing that you might want to take a look at anyway. This is what stating she said that was owed to her on September 20th, and I got emails from her sent to me saying that basically it's just saying that we're considering everything a wash, what's done is done, stating that she's taken...
Can I see, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'd like to look at that too after you, because I don't recall emailing him that or calling it a wash ever.
I'm really not here to deny any of the things that I've done, you know.
What? I don't hear you, sir.
I said I'm not here to deny any of the things that I've done, you know. Like, I just want this to be over with. She's crazy. I just want it to get away.
All right. Well, let me ask you the question. What kind of money do you think she's looking for, sir?
Evidently $1,400 and some change, Your Honor.
Well, actually not. She wants the money that it costs to clean up the wall for the security deposit. She said that was your fault. Repair labor. Home Depot materials, $739, and Home Depot materials, $86.30, and maybe some paint.
On a hollow core door, $739 worth of paint?
Listen to me.
I'm looking.
Do I know? I don't know, sir.
I'm sorry.
Did you lose your temper in the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make any holes in the walls?
I made one hole through the door and unlocked it.
Just a second. With your fist?
Yes.
Well, who was supposed to pay to fix that?
I actually did fix it.
How did you fix it?
I didn't paint it. I fixed it, and then all the other...
How did you fix it?
I put newspaper in it. I put a little bit of spackle on it. I sanded it. I put a little bit of sanded. I put a little bit of sand. I mean, everybody's laughing, but I'm really good at what I do, and I know I can do it and have done it. So I did it. It looked fine. The only reason that they caught it is because it was a flat finish over top of a shiny semi-gloss.
Okay. So what do you think he owes you for, Miss Kavanaugh?
I think he owes me for the full security deposit because he did punch the holes in the walls. The landlord's...
Well, the whole security deposit wasn't for just the carpet cleaning fee. Was probably from your dog?
What happened was the cleaning services, he got sick all over the bathroom one morning and left it there and didn't clean it up, and it was there to the day that we moved out. So she had to clean the whole apartment. I actually have pictures of it still there from when I left.
From when you left?
When I moved out, it was still there.
I ain't living in like that. I ain't living like that.
No, but
I'll tell you right now, Your Honor, that's not happening.
It does appear the new tenant moved in December.
Correct.
So you had October's rent and November's rent.
Right.
And you have no proof that you paid October's rent.
The only proof that I have is that I'm a big believer. I have other things. They're not with me right now. It sounds like an excuse, I know.
Okay. Now, did you pay November's rent?
November's rent was the landlord came and changed the locks on us. And
did you pay November's rent?
We didn't have keys to it.
I don't care whether you had keys or not.
No one paid the rent, Your Honor.
Oh, they took that out of the security deposit, and you have no proof that you paid the security deposit, sir.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right.
Right. Okay. So you owe your half of the rent, which was $550.
Well, my rent. If you're asking what I will pay,
not will pay. I didn't ask you what you will pay, sir. What I said to you was,
I put every penny I had.
Listen to me.
Into her account to pay the bills.
What money you put into her account, sir. Pay attention. October, you weren't there.
Right.
November, you weren't there. You have no proof that you paid October's rent. She has proof she paid her. You have no proof that you paid November's rent. They kept the security deposit, and I don't believe that you put security deposit in, sir.
Okay.
I believe that she borrowed the money, she put in the security deposit, and you have no proof to the contrary.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Furniture sat outside of my house for weeks. I told her, come pick it up. It sat out there until I moved.
You're a fast talker, because that's a couple of 3 defenses that I've heard so far.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Morgan Kavanaugh says ex-boyfriend Zachary Harrell owes for damages he caused to their apartment and for destroying her belongings.
Now, all I'm asking you is, was your half of the rent $500 or $550?
It was $550.
$550. Okay.
And
so you owe for October and November because they kept that from the security deposit.
Yes, ma'am. The main thing is we both...
No, there's no main thing. There's no main thing. You didn't pay for it. You didn't pay for your half of the rent for November. She didn't pay November either, correct?
No, ma'am.
Right. But you didn't pay October or November. You owe her $1,100, that's all.
I did pay. All right.
Pardon your excuse. You may step out.
And she's crazy and got more money out of me.
He's a liar. He just lies about everything.
I got a police report and a broken TV that she broke.
He's a very violent person.
She kicked my $1,400 TV.
No, I didn't.
Because I wasn't paying attention to her.
It was there fine when I left.
Don't trust none of them.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tuminello versus Hall. Step forward.
19-year-old Andrea Tuminello is suing her former friend, 19-year-old Nicole Hall, for the unpaid balance of furniture she sold her.
Ms. Tuminello, it is your claim that you sold furniture to the defendant in the amount of $250, that she paid $40, owing you $210, and you don't have your furniture and she didn't pay you the rest of the money.
Yes.
Okay. How do you know her?
I've known her since junior high school. We were best friends. We always hung out.
When did you sell her the furniture?
Back in 2009, I believe. Or no, 2010. I think it was in March. And since then, she hasn't had nothing.
Listen to me. Lots of important questions. The date that you sold her the furniture is important. The date she made the payment to you of $40 would be important.
It was back in August 30th.
Of what year?
2010.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding selling the furniture to your friend.
She saw it. She wanted to pay. I told her what can she afford for it. She said $250.
Why were you selling it?
Because I moved back in with my mom, and the furniture was just sitting in the garage.
Okay, you agreed to pay her $250?
Yes, Your Honor. I agreed to pay her.
And how much did you pay her?
I paid her a total of $40, and I told her I can make the payments whenever. There was no set agreement as to when I can make the payments to her. She agreed to me. She said that was totally fine.
Fine. Okay, so that was in August of 2010?
That was in March of 2010.
What makes you say it was August?
Well, when I contacted Nicole, it was in August. I have the paperwork right here.
That's not what I asked you when you contacted her.
I thought that's what you asked. I'm sorry.
No, I want you to try listening, not thinking where I'm going. I was very clear. I said, when did you sell her the furniture?
March.
Okay. Now, did you finish paying her for the furniture? We're almost a year later.
I did not finish paying her for the furniture after my car.
You did not pay her for it. Now, you're going to tell me why.
I did not pay her for the full amount of the furniture after the damages were done to my car.
Explain that to me.
It was in about July of 2010. She called me hysterically crying, "Please come pick me up. He has stolen my car." So I go down there to pick her up, and we're sitting in the car, and we're waiting for him to come. She's saying she's going with him, that she's going to leave with him. And I said, "Why would you go with him?"
Is what you're telling me, Miss Hall, just a second, is what you're telling me you got into some sort of an altercation with the plaintiff's boyfriend, and then she said to you, "You don't have to pay me for the furniture"?
That is what she said. "You do not have to pay me the full amount of the furniture because he has damaged my car, and now we have an agreement that you no longer owe me any money at all whatsoever."
That sounds ridiculous.
For the damages done to my car, and I do have pictures.
I don't care who did the damage, not she.
No, that is correct. She didn't, but she said that she felt bad for what had happened to my car, that she would pay.
And this was when?
Back in July when I had picked her up that night.
July. Okay. Now, you have a communication to her in August, a month later?
Yes.
Can I see it? Well, she wrote you back in August, on the 30th of August, and asked you where the furniture was because she was coming to get it that Friday. And you said she forgave the balance of the furniture.
That is correct.
How that happened, madam?
The furniture sat outside of my house for weeks. I told her, come pick it up. She's saying I never gave her an exact date. It sat out there until I moved. I moved a couple months later.
You're a fast talker. You're a fast talker because that's a couple of 3 defenses that I've heard so far.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Have you been cheated? Go to JudgeJudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
First, that it's your furniture because she agreed not to pursue the balance because of some damage the boyfriend. This is the boyfriend?
Yes.
Some damage the boyfriend did to your car. Did you cause any damage to our car?
No,
Speak!
No, Your Honor, I didn't.
Second, because you say that you put it outside and she didn't come to get it. Well, that's two different things, madam. That's two different things. What don't you understand?
Well, I had set it out for her to come get it, and she never came. Because I didn't want anything to do with him after that night, because he threatened me, and I felt...
So is what you're telling me that you put the furniture outside and that you don't know what happened to it?
No, it sat out there, and when I moved, it was still out there, and after that...
From Facebook, that's her dog, and that's my furniture right there in the background with her new apartment.
Listen to me. Your story is pathetic. What you're supposed to do is, if you're going to lie, you have to have the right lie, and you have to stick to that lie. You have to stick to your story. You're not supposed to have stories all over the place, because then you get confused, and then you try to confuse me. I'm easily confused. The older I get, the more confused I get. The one thing I do know is that you owe her $210 for the furniture. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $210. That's all.
Pause your excuse. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
That is her house. That is her new house.
That is my dog, and that is my furniture, but that was before I moved.
People's one over there that talked to me.
When I still had the furniture in my house.
My furniture is still in her house. She can stop lying.
Oh, we don't speak at all. At all.
There's no friendship. There's not been no friendship.
No longer talk.
Since junior high, it's all been pretend.
Make you a genius to have another baby with him.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
A father has too much free time.
Explain to me these video games that you play.
Everybody has hobbies.
Hobbies are usually done after work. You don't work.
And a mother waits.
Do you pay child support? Nobody has to tell you to put your underwear on in the morning, do they?
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
26-year-old Crystal Gokin is suing her ex-boyfriend, Benjamin McCullough, for a loan to pay off his car and for breaking their lease.
Order. All rise.
Yes, case number 66 on the calendar in the matter of Gokin versus McCullough. You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Gokin, you and Mr. McCullough have one child together, and you have one on the way. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
When is your baby due?
September.
How old is your other child?
15 months.
This is what you're suing him for. First, you claim that you paid off a car for him.
Yes, ma'am.
That was a loan. You want him to pay you back that money. Second, that you signed a joint lease. He left you and your son with months to go on the lease, and you want him to pay at least his half of the lease.
Yes, ma'am.
Until the termination of the lease. Mr. McCullough says that he paid off that car loan with his own money, and with regard to the apartment, you kicked him out of the apartment, so he had no choice but to leave. Is that your defense? When did you sign the lease for the apartment?
Signed the lease in May of 2009.
At that time, had your car loan been paid off?
I didn't have a car loan at that time.
When did you take out a car loan?
I took out a car loan, I believe, the next month in June.
And is that the one that was ultimately paid off?
Yes.
When did you pay it off?
It was paid off in, I believe, September.
Under what circumstances was the car loan paid off?
It was paid off with money from my tax return.
How come you got tax return money in September?
Because there was an error on it, and I was refunded more money.
How much?
At that time, about $1,000.
And how much was the car loan?
The car loan was $600.
Now, you deposit that $1,000 check into the bank.
I don't have a bank account, Your Honor.
So what did you do with the $1,000 check from the government?
I cashed it.
Where?
At a Walmart.
Did you save the copy, the stub?
I didn't, Your Honor.
Why?
I'm not good at keeping receipts and stuff.
Right, let's deal with the car loan.
Yes, ma'am. Ben didn't pay the car loan off with his tax money. The return that he's speaking about was for my son. That's not our son. And I actually had used our car. It was our car. Car insurance was on my account.
Could we please get to the car loan?
Yes, ma'am.
It was paid off in September.
Yes, ma'am. And I paid it off. I have the did it to me.
I would like
Your
to
Honor.
see it. Well, tell me how it came about that you paid for it.
I was driving our car and found mail stuffed under his seat and found out that it was up for repossession. and called him, and I was like, why do we have a title loan on our car that we just got paid off? And he was like, well, I had to get a title loan so I could play Warcraft, and we didn't have...
I didn't understand what you just said.
He has a Warcraft account. He plays video games online, and he got a title loan on his car so he could play video games because he doesn't have a job.
Your Honor, I was receiving unemployment at the time, so I had income. The title loan was to pay bills.
The title loan was to pay bills for whom?
We were living together at the time.
Well, you moved in together in May. This was in June.
We'd lived together previously. We just moved into that house.
I see.
And, Your Honor, as far as how she came to acquire the title, it was not given to her by the title loan company. When I was kicked out of the house the first of this year, I was only able to take, you know, an armful of clothing. I wasn't able to gather all my possessions. It was left in the house. And as far as it being our car or a joint car, the car is titled...
What is this supposed to be?
I asked for them to give me a receipt. In the state of Idaho, when you have a title, all you need is the title as proof of paid off or payment. I could take that title to the DMV.
Just a second. Is this allegedly from a loan company?
That's what I asked for it.
No, just a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this alleged?
I paid off the car.
Is this allegedly from a loan company? On this piece of white paper?
That's what I asked for.
In whose name is the car titled?
It's under my name.
Insurance is in my account.
Well, I would
because it's a joint car.
It's not a joint car.
It's a joint car. That's how it's on the same insurance policy.
It's not a joint car. It's his car. It's titled in his name.
Not now. I have a bill of sale, too, that he gave me that's at the house.
Who has the car?
I do. And I have the keys.
Good for you. Now,
she doesn't
you want to tell me the circumstances surrounding his leaving the house on January 1st?
He didn't leave on January 1st. He left on January 7th after I found out that he was having an affair.
January 7th. Well, tell me about it.
We have a phone. I have phones.
I don't care. You found out he was having an affair, and?
And we got in an argument, and we got in a physical altercation. We worked things out that night. The next morning, his mother shows up with the police. He left. He then came back while I was at work, gathered all of his things and some of my things. I mean, he left. I told him not to go. I said, we have a kid. I'm pregnant. You know, you need to, you know, figure this out if you're going to be with her or not. He's been back and forth.
Your Honor, she told me to get out.
No, I didn't.
No, just a second. Are you telling me that you had a physical altercation with him on January 7th?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then...
Because we have a kid, but I don't want to be together.
Well, then he can't live with you. So one of you's going to live in this house. You or him.
He can have it. He has all these animals he needs to take care of, and the house comes with 7 acres. I'll move. I've told him I would move.
Good. When is your lease up?
The end of this month.
You want to sign a new lease for this house?
No, Your Honor.
That's not up to me anyway. When he left...
I also moved out.
Oh, good. So what do you want? What do you want the court
I moved out, and he didn't stay in the house, so I had to come back because we couldn't get out of our lease.
And?
So I need him to pay for half the bills like he agreed to.
That's not going to happen. When you left the house, where did you go?
I went and got a studio apartment.
And?
And I was called by Canyon County Sheriff's because the animals weren't being taken care of. So I came back and I said, are you going to stay here? Because that's what you said. And he was like, well, I got to find a job, and all the jobs are in Boise.
When you say the animals weren't being taken care of, you talking about rescue animals that you take care of?
Some of them are rescues, and some of them were his, yes.
So that when you left, you just left the animals there?
He was there when I left the house.
On what date?
It was in February. I don't remember the exact date.
I thought you told me it was January.
He left in January. He left January 7th.
All right. He left January 7th.
And was back and forth, like I said, because of our child.
And then you left in February.
Yes, because he said he needed the house because of the animals.
Just a second. You left in February.
Paid rent on both places.
Where are you living now?
I'm living with family.
Are you working?
Yes.
Who are you working for?
I'm self-employed.
Doing what?
I'm a private investigator.
Do you pay child support?
I don't, Your Honor.
Why?
Because, I mean, it hasn't come to that yet. I don't know.
What do you mean it hasn't come to that? Don't you think that your son needs to eat?
I do, Your Honor.
Well, then why don't you pay child support if you're self-employed?
She's never requested it.
She doesn't have to request it. Nobody has to tell you to put your underwear on in the morning, do they? I don't have to request it. Nobody requests it. You know that you have a child, then you've got to pay child support. Nobody has to ask you.
Your Honor, I've contributed. There's just no formal child support order in place.
Well, that's what I want to know. How much have you contributed? I didn't ask you whether there was a formal order, Mr. McCullough. What I asked you was, how much do you pay in child support?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
That doesn't make you a genius to have another baby with him.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
Well, I just want you to be aware that I'm aware that it doesn't make you a genius to be dumb enough to get pregnant with a second.
And later today,
I knew at the time that I would be incarcerated.
What were you going to be incarcerated for?
I got under the influence.
What does that mean?
Pretty much that I was in public. She was on drugs and with her kid.
Crystal Gokin says ex-boyfriend Benjamin McCullough owes for a loan to buy a car and for breaking their lease.
Now, what? Your son. Look at me.
I have never given her money. I've bought him things that he needs.
All right, Mr. McCullough. Last night was a Monday. Do you remember last night?
Yes, Your Honor.
Where did you have dinner?
At a steak restaurant or...
At a steak restaurant. Sounds nice. Did you also have breakfast yesterday?
Yes.
See what I mean? Even if you're on a modified American plan, you get 2 meals a day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, when you say you're living with family, what family are you living with?
My parents.
Do you pay rent?
Not at this point.
How much are you earning as a private investigator being self-employed?
Very little.
Like what?
Probably a few $100s a month.
Well, that's not a job then, sir. My 11-year-old grandchild can make that selling cans of Coke. So let's get serious. Where are you looking for work?
Everywhere that I can.
So you're not working and staying home most of the time?
Yes, you could say that.
Yeah. And explain to me these video games that you play.
I play...
Just explain it to me.
There's not really anything to explain. Everybody has hobbies.
Hobbies are usually done after work.
True, Your Honor.
You don't work.
The job market in Idaho is very bad right now.
They can't find you playing video games. When was the last time you held a job?
I was late.
It was almost 2 years ago.
Well, listen, that doesn't...
And he pays for his video
Listen to me, that doesn't make you a genius to have another baby with him.
Oh, I'm aware of that.
Well, I just want you to be aware that I'm aware that it doesn't make you a genius to have somebody who's unemployed that you've already made one child with and to be dumb enough to get pregnant with a second.
Oh, I know.
Okay, fine.
I'm aware of my mistakes.
You have proof that you took out the money to pay off this loan from a bank account?
I don't have a bank account. I have my receipts that shows I pay everything for cash. I have receipts saying how I make my deposits.
Just show me that you paid off this.
That's what that paper is. That's what they gave me. I have another one for another car for my stepdad. I have power of attorney over my stepdad, and they gave me the same kind of paper.
Sorry, my dear. You have the car?
Yes, ma'am.
It's your car. You're going to move out of the house at the end of this month?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And then you're going to take him to court for child support?
Yes, ma'am. The agreement was he was going to help me pay the bills, which is why I never filed for child support. That's why we're here, because he keeps saying he's going to and he hasn't.
I suggest that you file a petition against him in family court for child support. How much do you earn at your job?
After taxes, about $1,100.
A what?
A month.
Anybody else help you?
No, ma'am.
You have family?
No, ma'am. I grew up in foster care.
Get a job.
Yes, Your Honor.
You have 2 children. Do you see your son?
A few times a week.
Support him. If you're living with your parents and you're earning $200 a month, that ought to go to support him. They're not charging you. Eat home. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He just left. He packed his stuff one day while I was at work, took everything out of the house that he wanted, and bounced. Went to live in his mommy's basement.
No, we'd been fighting more and more, and finally it got to the point where, you know, we had a big fight and she kicked me out.
I didn't kick him out. I begged him not to go.
I think, you know, it was a breakup. I think that there's a lot of feelings involved.
There's a little bit of emotion. I mean, we're having another baby. He's my son's father. We've been together for years. I love him.
I just hope that, you know, I can move forward and still be involved with my children.
He's a good father. He needs to be part of his children's life.
At least we'll be able to be cordial with each other.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dean versus Velasquez. Step forward.
20-year-old Jessica Dean is suing her former friend, Alicia Velasquez, for a $2,000 loan to buy a car.
Miss Dean, your claim is that you made a loan to the defendant in the amount of $2,000 for a car?
Yes.
Miss Velasquez says you never gave her any money. You knew each other through your boyfriends? Is that what it will? Explain that to me.
We were dating brothers.
And how long ago did you meet her?
I met her back in August of 2009.
Tell me about it.
Well, I had totaled my car in October, and I knew in November I would be getting a settlement check for it. She approached me in the beginning of November and asked me if I would loan her the money when the check had cleared, and I knew at the time that when it cleared, I would be incarcerated.
What were you going to be incarcerated for?
I got an under the influence.
For driving while under the...
No, it was just an under the influence.
What does that mean?
pretty much I was in public while I was under the influence of a
Public
type of drug.
intoxication.
Yeah, it's like that.
She was on drugs and with her kid.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She chooses Jessica Dean over her 2 cents.
Why do you think she would do that?
Because she cheated. She's 8 weeks pregnant right now with somebody else's baby and cheated.
I'm not asking about the plaintiff. I'm asking about your boyfriend's mother.
Jessica Dean says former friend Alicia Velasquez borrowed money to buy a car and has not paid it back.
Go ahead.
She came to me and asked, and I told her that I'd loan it to her, and I talked to Julie about it, and she said that she would get the money out of the bank when it hit, because I'd be incarcerated, and she'd give it to her to...
How was this lady going to get the money out of the bank?
We have a joint account.
Who is this lady?
She is my boyfriend's mom.
And how long have you had a joint account with her?
Since October.
October of what?
2009.
Why did you set up a joint account with her?
Because we knew that I'd be incarcerated, and I wasn't sure if I'd need money on my books or not.
How boyfriend?
He was in prison at the time.
Go ahead.
And she asked if I would loan it to her, and I said I would. And so Julie took her the money, and she said in February of 2009, when she got her tax returns, she would start paying the money back.
How much was the settlement check for your car?
I believe it was for around $11,000 or $12,000.
And the check was made out to you?
Yes.
Did you endorse the check?
What do you mean?
Sign at the back of it?
Yes, I did.
Do you have a copy of it?
No, I don't.
Do you have your bank statement where it was deposited?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it. What did you take out $6,000 for?
I took $4,000 out to buy my car, and the $2,000 that was loaned to her.
You were in jail and you bought a car?
I had looked at the car before I was incarcerated, and she went, and it's in her name, and she had bought the car for me.
So you took out $6,000?
Yes.
You spent $4,000 in cash?
Yes.
Do you have proof that you purchased a car on or about the 24th of November?
I don't have that with me, Your Honor.
Did she lend you any money?
No, I have all my proof.
Let me see it.
Okay. It's, I borrowed the $1,000 from my dad, which is on a AAA credit card, and actually was from a You Pick and Save. It's a junkyard. And I wrecked my Honda Civic and sold it for $500, which also went towards it.
So this receipt is for the new car that you purchased for $1,500.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
And you took out some money from various accounts in order to do that?
I just borrowed $1,000 from my dad and used the $500 towards my Honda Civic, because I sold my Honda and I saved it until I can find a new car.
Mm-hmm. And that all happened on the same date that the plaintiff took out $6,000 from her account.
She was locked up and I didn't get no money
I'm
from
just
her.
asking you a question. That all happened on the same date, November 24th, because according to this, you
I bought it on the
purchased your
24th.
car on November 24th.
Yeah.
Step up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Okay, tell me your name.
Julie Sanders.
Tell me about this alleged transfer of money.
Okay, on the 24th, we had talked about loaning her the money to buy a vehicle. She needed a bigger van for her kids and her. So anyway, we talked about it, and she said, yes, that would be fine if I loaned her the money while she was incarcerated. And I said, okay. So I went to the bank with my husband. I withdrew $6,000. It was $4,000 for her car, that a 2003 or 4 Sebring, I can't remember the year exactly, and this van that was at a wrecking yard. And so I withdrew the money and everything. We took it down to the wrecking yard, gave it to Alicia.
She was already at the yard?
Yes, they were already at the salvage yard.
Who was there? The defendant and who else?
My son and Alicia.
They were dating at the time?
Yes, they still are. Yes.
What kind of relationship do you have with her son?
Me and her were best friends, but
No, her son. You have 2 children, and she's the grandmother of those 2 children.
Yeah.
Okay, you get along with her?
Yeah.
Why would she lie to me
Right
about
now,
this?
we haven't been talking for 2 weeks because of this whole Jessica thing. She chooses Jessica Dean over her 2 cents.
Why do you think she would do that?
Because she cheated. She's 8 weeks pregnant right now with somebody else's baby and cheated.
I'm not asking about the plaintiff. I'm asking about your boyfriend's mother.
That's why I'm not talking to Julie right now. Because she's choosing Jessica over her 2 kids.
She's not choosing Jessica over her 2 kids. Why would she lie about it? What motivation would she have to lie to you until 2 weeks ago?
Me and her's always on and off. Julie, she's on a whole bunch of medication. She'll forget things. Her sons would say that, but I couldn't bring one with me because it's his mother.
Why? Why couldn't you bring your boyfriend?
Because she's actually his payee, so he says he wouldn't go against his mother no matter what she says.
She's his payee? What does that mean?
He's on SSI, Social Security.
I believe you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
She needs money because she has a new baby on the way, trying to get her 4-year-old back, and she doesn't have any income right now.
Me and her got into an argument, and she decided she wasn't going to pay me.
She was with her kid at her dad's house, and her ex-girlfriend called the cops on her, and they came and took her away.
She got mad at me because she was causing problems with me and my ex, and I wasn't going to deal with it anymore.
She wasn't arrested with the DUI. She was actually under the influence of drugs.
I did have a drug problem, but I'm in recovery right now.
She has a 4-year-old, and she's been going in and out of rehab.
That's no longer an issue for me.
She's not showing proof that she wants to stay clean to get her kid back, let alone have another kid.
That's just Alicia. I mean, she just does things out of spite. She doesn't care who she hurts in the process.
Oh, no, don't have no more friends.
There's no trust right there. I can't trust her at all.
Don't trust nobody. I mean, if you make up something, I can't stop that.
She'll never get it.
Financial issues, being a good friend, she let me stay with her.
Her money troubles were contagious.
You're 30 days behind than your rent.
She said that she would help me with $200 of rent, and she never ended up paying me anything.
But was there a cure?
They told you that there was a case against you.
For their eviction?
Did you do anything about this?
We went to the office to talk to them.
Well, evidently it didn't work.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
19-year-old Ashley Buchanan is suing her former roommate, 20-year-old Brianna Hernandez, for the cost to replace belongings that were lost during their eviction.
Order. All rise. Yeah, it's case number 261 on the calendar in the matter of Buchanan versus Hernandez.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Miss Buchanan, when did you move in with the defendant?
It would be mid-July of this year, Your Honor.
Why?
I was having financial issues, family issues. I was going through a rough patch, and being a good friend, she let me stay.
Living in with Miss Hernandez?
I was living with my mother and my stepfather.
How long do you know Miss Hernandez?
We've known each other for a few years now. We met through a mutual friend.
Miss Hernandez, you were living alone in July of 2010?
I had a friend that had got kicked out of his house, so he was leaving some stuff there. But yeah, it was pretty much just me.
What does that mean? The question is, were you living there alone,
Yes.
or were you living there with a friend?
By myself.
And storing stuff for a friend?
Well, he stayed there a few nights a week, but nothing like serious and permanent.
Could you keep your voice up? You know, I'm getting old. So what I understand is, if I'm trying to put it all together, keep your voice up. You hear how nicely and clearly I'm speaking? Right?
Yes.
You don't have to struggle to hear me, do you?
No.
Good. You were living there with a friend who stayed there 2 or 3 nights a week, a guy, and who left his stuff there.
Yes.
And didn't contribute to the rent.
No.
What's his name?
His name's Shane.
How long had you been living in this apartment?
Since February of this year.
When did you stop paying rent?
It was August, this past August.
Why?
Because I let her move in with me, and she said that she would help out any way she can. And then she said that she did some Army stuff, because I told her when she moved in that she wouldn't, and then she insisted.
Why did you stop paying rent?
Because I had to, but she said that she would help me with $200 of rent, and she never ended up paying me anything, so we did get evicted.
That still, Miss Hernandez hasn't told me why you got evicted. You moved into this apartment when?
February.
Did you pay February's rent? March? April?
Yes.
May?
Yes.
June?
Yes.
July? So you managed to pay that all by yourself?
Yes.
She moved in July 15th. You have a lease at this apartment? Is not an answer. Yes is an answer. No is an answer. I don't know is an answer. Did the lease permit you to have anybody else living with you?
No, I don't believe so.
No. Now, you moved in. She stopped paying rent. When did you get evicted?
We got our eviction notice on August 30th.
No, not we. You.
I got my eviction notice on August 30th.
Because you were 30 days behind than your rent, right?
Yes.
And you had paid July's rent?
Yes.
And when did they tell you had to be out?
On the 30th, we had to be out by the 31st.
So you got 1 day's notice?
Yes.
I'd like to see that notice. Oh, no wonder I can't see. That had been started against you before this?
Yes.
Of course you were. How far in advance were you notified that there were eviction proceedings started against you?
I was given some notices, but then...
You were given some notices. Of course you were given some notices, because nobody evicts you within 24 hours. They don't sign this and say 24 hours, some sheriff's going to come. They told you that there was a case against you.
Yes.
When for the first time were you notified that there was a case against you?
Maybe about 2 weeks after I didn't pay my rent, but we did go down. Ashley Buchanan and I went down to the office and let them know that we weren't going to be able to pay it on time because she had some personal issues that we were going through because I was helping her out, and they said, okay.
Don't tell me what they said. All of that is hearsay. You were notified by the court that there were eviction proceedings. Did you do anything about this?
We went to the office to talk to them.
Well, evidently it didn't work.
Yeah.
They said pay your rent.
If I may interject. No?
Now, your lawsuit says that she disposed of your property.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you were evicted and you were supposed to pack up. You had plenty of notice. You were going to be out by the end of the month. They were going to put you out on August 31st. So what did you do on the night of August 30th?
Your Honor, on the night of August 30th, we started packing up. I packed up all of my room.
Where were you going?
I really didn't know, Your Honor. I have a...
Just a minute. So on the 30th, you packed up all your things?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had no place to put them because you didn't know where you were going?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, I had an idea of where I was going.
Where was the idea?
Staying with one of my sergeants in the Army, Your Honor. She lives closer to the Armory, and it would have been easier for me to get to work there.
Had you discussed that with this person?
No, it was very abrupt. I had been having bad case of events over the past 3 months, and she had given me an offer a while ago to live with her and get myself up on my feet because I wasn't making the best decisions. And so when I had nowhere to go, I had asked her, I said, is that offer still available for me to live there?
And she said yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
And on what date did you have that conversation?
It actually wasn't until August 31st. It was the day after we got locked out of the apartment.
Well, so I'm going back. Where were you on August 30th? You packed your things.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what happened?
I had 2 friends over. Their names were Brandon and Courtney. At the time, Brianna didn't really want anybody there because we were really upset about the eviction. But I convinced them to maybe help us pack up. However, when she came home, she was really upset, and it made the situation between everybody very uncomfortable. My friends came to me. And I was like, well, I'm a bit uncomfortable too, so yeah, let's get out of here for tonight. So I packed all of my things, or majority of my things, and I fit all of what I could in my friend Brandon's car. I told Brianna, I said, I will be back first thing in the morning to get the rest of my things and to help you finish packing. And right as I was leaving, she had one of her other friends come who was helping her pack up her bedroom. When I had left the apartment...
Where did you go?
I went to my friend Brandon's house, Your Honor.
And what did you do there?
We just slept, Your Honor.
And when did you get up to go back to the apartment?
I actually woke up at about 9:30 the next morning, but I received a phone call from Brianna at about 10 or 10:30 saying that we were already locked out.
10 or 10:30
a.m.
So you weren't back at the apartment the first thing in the morning if you get a phone call.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You said to me earlier, I packed all my things, and then you said you packed some of your things and some of the things were not packed, which is why I'm not believing everything that you're telling me, even though you're sweet as sugar.
Ashley Buchanan says former roommate Brianna Hernandez owes for the belongings she lost when they were evicted from their apartment.
Okay, what else?
I asked Brianna, I said, if we're... She said that we could only come on one day, and it had to be together, and it had to be in one shot, because that's the only time that the constable would do that. After that, I asked her, I was like, well, do you know which day you would like to go back? I really, really need my things that are in there. And she said that she needed to figure out storage and how to move everything. So a couple days went by, and I kept trying to get a hold of her, and then she would not answer my phone calls or my texts. And about 3 days later, I received a text message at 4:45 p.m. saying that I had until 5 p.m. to go get my things from the apartment. At this time, I was all the way across town, and there was no way I was going to get to the apartment in 15 minutes. I immediately contacted the management of the apartment, and I told them the situation. I said, I can't get there in 15 minutes. And she said, well, why didn't you come earlier? Because Brianna's been here all day. I said, I'm sorry, Your Honor, I have not, I've been trying to get
So you didn't get there?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't get there. So you went to your friend's house, and you could have, when you left, taken your stuff, gone to your friend's house, come back, taken the rest of your stuff, because you said to me a moment ago, which is why, Miss Buchanan, I'm not believing everything that you're telling me, even though you're sweet as sugar, because you said to me earlier, I packed all my things, and then I started to pack her things. And then about 5 minutes into your story, you said to me that you packed moved what you could into your friend's car to your friend's house. So you either had or had not packed all your things.
Your Honor, all of my things were packed, but they were in the corner of the room.
What does that mean? Right. Either they were stacked in the corner of the room or they were packed in boxes and suitcases. What does it mean they were in the corner of the room? I had a lot of loose items, such as like my guitar and my photos, and a plastic bin full of clothes. And then I had some trash bags full of things and miscellaneous items. So what did you take with you when you left? I took trash bags full of miscellaneous items. It would seem to me you would take the most valuable items first in the car. Does that make sense? It does, Your Honor, and I didn't think that anything of it. No. It makes sense. If I were leaving my house and I thought that there was a possibility that the house would burn down, I would first go for cash and jewelry. That would be the first thing I would take, the most valuable things that I had in my house, because all my kids are gone now, and my husband would be with me, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. But the first thing that we would actually do was probably empty out what we had in the house that was of any value. So that makes sense. It doesn't make sense that you take a trash bag full of garbage and leave all your value. Buchanan. Yes, Your Honor. I was expecting to come back in the morning to get the rest of my things. What part of what I just said didn't you understand? It makes complete sense, Your Honor. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. You weren't thinking of anything. You took the most valuable things that you had there. Now you're going to tell me what it was that you left behind. Left behind was a plastic bin full of some of my clothes, like my jeans, undergarments, things of like that nature. What did you do with those?
I left her clothes there, and I had some friends come over and help me pack. Well, I had one friend come over and help me pack.
The only thing I'm interested in, quite frankly, is the last part of your answer says that you sold some of her stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to know what property of the plaintiffs you sold to whom and when.
I sold her guitar.
Guitar?
For $50 to Sandy, a girl who went to my school.
What else?
Just that.
Just the guitar?
Just the guitar.
Your Honor, that guitar had a lot of sentimental value to me. It
has a lot of sentimental value to me, too. Did you purchase it?
No, it was a gift, Your Honor.
And she sold it for?
For $50.
That should get back $50. You can't sell her property.
I sold it because
No, she gets $50 back. Can't sell her property. You could turn it over.
She used my credit card.
Just a minute. I haven't gotten to your counterclaim yet.
Your Honor.
You just left there?
I took her important things that she left there, her dog tags, her diploma, her social, which she should have taken with her, but I took that and her guitar.
And what did you do with the other things? You sold the guitar. What did you do with the papers?
I gave her her things because I told her that I had them, and I said, would you like me to give them to Courtney? She said yes.
You mean the papers? Mm-hmm. What papers did you give to Courtney?
I gave her her diploma and her birth certificate.
Did you get your diploma?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, good. And all the clothes and everything you just left there? You left there. That's not her fault. That's not her fault. That's your fault.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I helped her out so much, and I wasn't going to charge her for anything, but she was irresponsible. She said she was going to get a job.
Oh, please, you know, this is not a self-help program.
Ashley Buchanan says former roommate Brianna Hernandez is responsible for belongings she lost when they were evicted from their apartment.
Okay, what else?
Your Honor, may I say something?
Say whatever you want. You get the money back from what she sold that was yours. She's not responsible for schlepping your stuff.
Yes, Your Honor. The guitar was actually worth $585. And I also have a Farberware pots and pans set that my mom had bought me for Christmas that's $120 that she still has. And I also had an LED $130 that I actually bought as a gift for my mom. And that was also there.
It may have been there, but she doesn't have it. She doesn't have to compensate you for the things that you left there.
Well, it's
only for the item that she sold.
I understand the clothing was left there, but that was the only thing that was left there. And I actually contacted the management of the apartments as soon as this happened, and they took photographs, and I've not been able to receive the photographs because I need
That's not my problem either.
But they said that...
You can't tell me what they said. That's hearsay. Do you have her lighted picture?
I have that because
You have the lighted picture?
Yes.
Okay. She gets that back.
Okay.
And pots and pans? You have pots and pans
I had
that
people
belong
help
to-
me move, and I had friends pack my kitchen, so I'm not sure.
Well,
if they're
take a
there or
look
not.
and see. What kind of pans were they?
Farberware, Your Honor.
If you have Farberware pots and pans that you did not purchase, that she brought with her or purchased, make sure she gets those back with a lighted picture as well as the $50. Anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. That guitar is worth $50.
I don't care.
I just don't understand why...
You should have taken it with you. If it was worth $500, you should have taken it with you.
Okay, and one other thing, Your Honor, is those clothes that were in there, I asked her to come with me because I wasn't on the lease to go get my things that were in there.
Shouldn't have gone partying with your friends on the 30th.
I did not go
You should have
partying.
taken your stuff there. You should have said to them, you can leave. I have to stay, finish packing, clean up the place, leave it the way I found it, and take your stuff with you August 30th. Because this said the sheriff was coming in on August 31st. And they did. So you have to be a grown-up. You have to take care of your property. It's not her responsibility. She can't sell your things, but she doesn't have to guard them. She doesn't have to be responsible for your clothes. She doesn't have to move them out. That's your responsibility. Okay. Now, you want to very quickly, please, give me your counterclaim?
Okay.
Quickly.
I sold her guitar because...
No reason. You don't have an excuse for selling her guitar.
Okay.
Now, counterclaim.
She used my card to pay for internet service. That was $65.
What card?
My ATM card.
How did she get control of your ATM card?
She asked to borrow it for like $1 to activate the internet. I said it was fine. And then it was, I guess, on auto pay, and it took out of my account, which overdrafted me $150.
Well, how much was taken out for her internet use?
It was $65.78 plus $9.95.
Did you use her card for your internet?
Yes, Your Honor. It was agreed that she would pay that just to get on the internet temporarily. My mother was the one who was going to pay for the internet, and we agreed that if she put her card in, that we would switch the card over to my mom's name, and both of us forgot about it.
You were supposed to pay for it, correct? You were supposed to pay for it.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was $65.
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you charged the $65?
Yes, plus the $9.95.
So now you owe her $65 for the internet. What else?
And it also took out $9.95, which overdrafted my account. And
I don't care.
And then I missed school to take her to the hospital. I drove her across town to move her, get her things from her sisters, to go to her mom's to get her things from her mom's. And I helped her out so much, and I wasn't going to charge her for anything, but she was irresponsible. She said she was going to get a job.
Oh, please, you know, this is not a self-help program. Do you understand?
Judge Judy continues in a... Have you been cheated? Go to JudgeJudy.com or call 1-888-800-JUDY.
Now, Ms. Hernandez, she had a legal obligation to remove her property in a timely fashion from an apartment from which you were evicted and where she was living. She knew that the sheriff was coming in. She chose not to remove her property. Some of it is gone. Some of it you have. What you have to return to her. You also have to return to her the $50 that you got from selling her guitar. She, on the other hand, promised to pay you for internet service. She's responsible for. If she didn't take care of it and take care of moving it out of your name into her mother's name, with my mother paying for it, that's her responsibility. She's going to pay you the $65. But the fact that you carted her all over town and that she turned out to be less responsible than you would like, you don't get compensated for here. Do you understand?
But I also got fees from the bank because the card was charged the $65.
That's a very, very good reason for you never to give somebody your ATM card.
Okay.
So, she has to give you $50 and your lighted picture and Farberware pots and pans if she can find them. And you owe her $65. We clear?
Okay.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I thought it it was fair. She needs her stuff back.
I really didn't want any money out of this.
We both had the same amount of time to get our things out, and she had less than I did. I had a whole apartment.
The main thing I wanted was my guitar. Had a lot of sentimental value to me.
I'm actually the one who bought her the $500 guitar, so I'm really upset that Bree sold it for $50.
The fact that someone who was supposed to be such a good friend to me could do something so horrible, it really sucks.
It's really upsetting.
Maybe a little too much partying on